Also, that's interesting.
I have vocal fry.
But I'm also not a Californian girl, so no one cares.
Ah, yes.
You said like right said Fred, by the way, Callum. The last thing you said there, which was quite funny.
Did I?
Yeah, it was like, I'm too sexy for my voice. It's good.
I'm too sexy for my voice.
And does hear it? Like, I really do. Like, it's it's good. I like it. That should just be your new character.
Wait, hold on. No, wait. I'm too sexy for my voice. There we go.
It's horrible.
Nice.
I'm sorry. You can fire me at any time.
So sexy.
I don't think I actually.
Oh, what a song. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not appropriate given where we left off last time. But speaking of which, I think everything's working. Let me use my last audio. Yep, good. My mic's doing the right mic. Right, well, welcome to Starfinder, the Fragments of Eternity, session 88. It's, I believe, two ladies of a specific size. Which is odd to say on International Women's Day. So, happy International Women's Day, everybody in space. Yeah. I'm a GM. It is the 8th of March 2021. Something, the players.
Hello, I'm Colin. I will be playing Lyco Quint. Or will I? He is and or isn't for resident sneaky, spooky, altogether cookie, space cop coast to coast. Happy International Menstruators Day.
Oofed.
I got it in at the end because I thought I knew you would think I would do it at the start, right?
No, I think it's just bad. I feel like that's exclusionary, but sure.
Spicy.
Yeah. So I'm just going to state here that a happy International Women's Day to all women, and then we can move on.
As the voice of feminism, I also agree. And hello.
Hello.
I'm Nico. And I'm playing Zora, best captain, the author of all things.
Greetings, I'm Alex, and tonight I will mostly be playing Beard, the android mechanic, and I am pleased to hear that everything is positive in the women fandom.
Yes.
What fan?
Hi.
Hi.
I am Callum, and I will be playing Zig, the Burning Sun, who, following his captain, the voice of feminism, wants to say, happy day to you all.
I'm glad we did this. Wasn't this a bag of cats?
International. I don't know. I don't have a good joke at the moment.
If I had a bag and I had cats, I would say, oh, that's quite like this.
Yeah, I think so.
I had it in my head that it was International Women's Day last week.
I mean,
so
okay, it can be. I mean, they can have 2 days.
Yeah,
no, I'm cool with it. Like, I'm just
every day is International Women's Day in my eyes.
Well, in your eyes, yeah.
I was wondering if there was a national one instead of an international one or something.
Maybe. Oh, that'd be quite interesting to know. I mean, we could Google this at any point, but let's not. Let's just let the viewers decide. So.
Otherwise, I've just got my date and time wrong on my computer.
I mean, also true. You might just be living a week ahead of the rest of us, or behind. I'm not really sure how time works anymore.
I'm afraid to say that it's not looking good for next week.
Oh well.
Spoilers.
These things happen, I suppose. Ominous prediction. Okay.
That's bold, is what that is.
What is?
I don't think so. It's 2021. Predicting that next week is going to be worse than this week is
almost expected, if not, would be disappointing if things got better. Yeah. That's all I can say.
People will be too busy celebrating to remember that I got it wrong. That's the secret of good forecasting.
Exactly. everyone's gonna die, or not. And then that way, if you get it wrong, people are like, well, at least we're still alive. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you got it. You got it nailed. What did we do last time, guys? What happened last time?
Blew up.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh yeah. Lyko just stopped,
What went through a
and
door?
Cinderelle started again.
There.
Through means of explosion.
Got a job. Have the disgusting Q-Bob.
Yeah.
Didn't drink his slop.
No.
Spoke to Grin and Durwa.
Mhm.
Done a wee bit of Emma Owen with Lyko. Lyko did a bit of Emma Owen at the point.
Mhm.
I did as well, I
No, I
suppose.
mean, let's not put it like that. Not on International Women's Day.
Mate, that thought did not cross my mind. Quite frankly, your mind is dirty and something or other. Yeah.
There you go. There's the order of all things opinion on that.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Oh, that's session
Aye,
8. We're going
like
back
this.
in time, boys.
Uh-oh.
That goes no
Uh-oh.
Cindy.
Uh-oh.
What happened in session 8? Let me go find out.
I was just thinking that.
How bad
Session
was
8.
it? Mystery Shopper?
Mystery
No, that was a
Shopper.
great one.
Oh my goodness. That was a really good one. Let's do that one then. Let's just go do that one.
Oh dear. That's good.
Let's put Lyko exploding on hold and
Because
do
that was
Mystery Shopper again.
Old Man Guns. And his weird and wire beaded doorway in his copper beard.
Oh man, guns.
Alright.
I'm sure we might find them.
You want gift bag? We don't do gift bag. Here's to you, Old Man Guns. Here's to you.
Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson.
Right. Anything else happened last time that's worthy of note?
I can think of.
Oh, CC is
Oh, yeah.
has got made contact
Yeah. CC has CC'd you in.
through the null space chamber, which is interesting.
Hmm.
So it might be lost in the null space chamber. That'd be impressive, if anything
Lost in
else.
Nil Space. That's his new TV show. That everything, guys? Or is I think that's most of it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
nobody
enough.
mentioned Lanco, the wonderful Showbad.
Oh, my
yes,
god.
the best character. Oh, her new party member. I forgot about him.
Yeah. It's
Her,
my new
her friend. Well, the captain's friend. I've not made friends.
Oh
Your
yeah.
friend.
All I'm saying is we don't know this guy yet.
Give me a hug, guys. That's more than any of you have done for me.
Wow. Wow.
To be
yeah.
fair,
That hurt.
Alice
It
did
hurt.
hug you. To be fair.
That's true. That's true.
Mhm.
That's maybe
How
what
much
actually made me realise I like
Tiny
pugs.
Stevens' bizarrely named character, Rikishi.
Yeah, sure.
Irie,
Ray's
Rikishi.
Kishi. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rikishi.
Rikishi. Also,
Rikishi.
I love how Zig's like in the next game 2 moments. Is that what is that the new game? Is that
I thought so.
yeah.
How did I not call you out last week on misspelling kaput, by the way, Cal?
He's not even here.
He's gone. He's gone. He's lied to us all.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else to cover, or is that
This is happening now.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right.
okay?
I can't
Lyko's been
confirm
mentioned, that's
anything
not
on the other International Women's Day, but it is the 45th birthday of Freddie Prinze Jr.
Okay.
45th? I
Yeah,
thought he was still older than that.
So is that today or was that last week?
today.
Okay. Well, happy birthday to him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aye.
Happy birthday.
Also, the death day of Mr. Zeppelin.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. How odd.
It's an important day,
Yeah.
apparently.
Ferdinand von Zeppelin
Mm. It's a good name, to be fair.
is, and also William Taft, the American president.
Mhm.
But I think von Zeppelin is more important.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, he's the one who everyone knows because he gets stuck in a bath at one point.
Who,
Yeah.
Taft?
Toby Taft.
I didn't know he gets stuck in a bath, but I don't really know much about Taft.
No one does, but he got stuck
It's
in
a
a
bit
bath.
daft.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, so goals. Let's see what goals are in place this week. So we currently have Zora. Hit me up. What is it?
Discover what happened to Cece.
That seems to be accurate. Lyko.
I have not opened the Go Manager, and I think it was something different. No, it's still Uncover Electroencephalon here. Uncover how his Electroencephalon came to be.
And Weird.
I'm gonna set up a business of spines. Gonna talk to the Queen about my spines.
I like it. You've now installed jingle.exe.
I'm very excited for spine business. I don't know about anything else in the game, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just your own property management simulator. This has been.
The game devs created this entire world. O'Brien created this entire universe for us to play, and he's like, "Aha! I find this one small thing that I can do, and I'm going to do this hard."
Just fair. Zig.
I acquire the void egg.
Yep. Hmm.
That's it. I mean,
Can you just tell us do your voice, right? Your right side Fred voice, and do the rest of the general goals for McCallum.
speak with the key. No, my voice hurts now. Speak.
Can you jingle them?
Speak with the Cavallari crew and versus. Speak with Domigesh on situation on Octurne. Remove Tectilanus as Devogesh.
Please.
Game useful MO info. Ensure Weird removes Vesk safeguard protocols. The last two were him on his in his spare time by himself.
We
You're
have
welcome.
greetings from San Diego in chat as well, apparently. Hello.
Hello, San Diego.
From
San
all-
Diego, a person or somebody from San Diego?
I mean, yes. I've just said hi from Scotland. I figured it was the best greeting.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Oh wait, yeah, no.
It's very
it's-
difficult to know on the internet what's a name and what isn't.
Yeah, it's tricky. But
I do
Delivers,
not speak for
yeah.
Scotland.
I do not come for Scotland. I don't come for Scotland at all.
as
I'm
it,
here as the voice of Scotland.
As spokesperson, yes.
I think I've been duly elected as spokesperson for Scotland.
isn't that
As
interesting?
is tradition.
Yeah, sure.
Representing Scotland on the international
I'm
stage.
not allowed to make any
Alex.
political statements at the moment.
Thank you for the
on
follow
public
as well.
media. So.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Thanks, work.
Okay, so that's our goals.
Don't worry, I'll make some political statements for you.
Oh
No.
God, you will. And I do not want to be associated with them if you're watching Mr. Boss or HR.
Yes.
Mostly no is the campaign slogan. Mostly no. Oh dear.
But not in a vote yes, vote no kind of way. Just nah.
You're getting some support here, Alex, it seems. Look at that. In the
yeah.
chat.
We need Alex campaign like emotes.
As the voice of Scotland. Yep. Don't worry. I mean,
Us and peace.
yay! Okay, so where we left off, we were in some strange place through a blue door that you all had went through different ways. Mostly Zig was put in a box and took through, and we had Lyko's demise again, and we had Sindale's rebirth. It seems. Yes, that was after some shenanigans with MO and the rest. So, the Joyce.
Oh,
Oh my. How dare you?
what?
How dare you?
today.
Not today. Of
Sorry.
all days. I'll just fix this for Alex because he asked for a screenshot.
Cheers.
There you go, buddy.
Just. Oh, thank you.
Mhm. It's the best we can do in short notice. Right, so I guess I think we open on the group.
I don't want to be too political about anything, but let's just quickly say Session 88 has nothing to do with numerology about Adolf Hitler. In
Okay.
regards to Starfinder.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's popular online.
I feel like most of us could have assumed that through an absence of correlation.
You'd think that, but was it on Channel 4 that got in trouble because they had some contest with a guy who had 88 tattooed on him? And
Oh yeah, and it did
pointed
actually
out,
turn out to be the.
yes, he's actually a Nazi.
Okay, well we are not Nazis. That is something I never felt like I ever had to state before. We are not them in any way.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I like to be told not to do my right one.
No.
It's just
No.
in the chat, and the Roll 20 chat, and I just thought I meant 88.
I wonder.
Nah.
Yeah. I do wonder now.
We're talking
If-
about 1488. It's the year. Don't worry.
Oh, no.
So, moving swiftly on from the cancellation of my channel. Thank you, everybody.
I always said it will be my fault, so don't worry. You were warned.
Yeah, and I always said you then are fully responsible for rebuilding a channel back up to what you trashed. So, yeah.
That
We
would be
want
well.
the channel that he builds.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to change my
Do you know what? If they all subscribe, no. Anyway, anyway, in the room with Ramasethu, Sindael,
Mhm.
and the gang minus Lyko. That's where we are. You just have a naked Sindael standing there, and he's just said, "Hello."
This isn't a you thing, is it? I would turn it around to weird.
What do you mean a me thing?
I mean,
I love your instinct to just find someone to blame immediately.
I mean, it's not a blame. It's more like is this like a metamorphosis? Like I'm just gonna change my body.
Oh, I
thing?
see where you're
Like
coming from.
Patch Worlders seem to do this. Like,
It's normal over here.
When I do it, it's less explosive in that sort of gooey kind of manner. And also, you've met this figure before, have you not?
I mean,
Unless Blanco has become wildly unimaginative, I say looking over Sindel.
I don't know if Lyco's turning into Born Sages.
Maybe that's just how Barai work.
I mean, apparently Lycos do turn into Born Sages. Hello? Wave.
And he kind of looks at you and just kind of like smiles his big, weird, creepy grin.
It's not Blanco.
It's creepy.
I think Zig would just look at Sindael and just say, "So, when do we get Lyko back?"
You're asking the big questions. I like it.
The big question. Go hitting hard,
I think Sindael
not
turns
pulling
to
my
you.
punches.
Sindael turns to you, and then looks at you and goes, "You are powerful."
I think Zig does that thing where he like looks behind him to see who he's talking to.
And when you look behind you and then you look back, Sindael's like in your face.
Ah,
And
that's all Zig. He just goes, ah.
yeah, and he kind of just blinks and stares at you and says, "Where is Lyko?"
I'd look down. Is there bits of Lyco on the floor?
No, it seems like everything was used to rebuild.
I'm kind of pointing vaguely at him.
Yes.
With the quarter of my hands.
One quarter is ridiculous. The fact that you have so many to go around.
I like that way of referring to like a single hand as a quarter of your hand. So
Yeah,
I think we're
a quarter of the allotment I have available.
I gesture with half of my hands.
Once you reach a certain number, it's easier to do it by fractions than individual counts.
Says the android. It's the most android thing you've done.
Seriously.
Oh, just yeah. Anyway, 1/8 of my limbs gestures thusly. Oh dear. So anyway, yeah, Sindel looks himself up and down, and he says, "I am naked."
Tends to be what happens when you bust out of someone's body, I think.
Ah, you have experience. Good.
Uh,
Did you bring spare clothing?
no.
That seems short-sighted of you.
Did you bring a spare Lyco?
He kind of tilts his head and blinks, and he goes, "Why would we have two?"
I don't know. I mean, you died. You're back. It's two of you, technically, right?
He blinks and just stares at you.
A blink and step back.
He just smiles then, and then turns around and just like takes in his surroundings.
Any
Yes.
ideas, anybody?
I think you just see him scratching his butt.
I wish I took my hard hat that I could just hand to him with me.
I will begrudgingly hand him my cape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he,
I'd
ta-
look at
Popping
it.
it.
he takes it from you and he kind of like, holds it like the way you've handed it to him, and says, "Thank you."
You're welcome.
Just continues to like hold it in front of him. And just kind of looks at it.
I assume he'll figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, you'll get there. Okay. Anything else from any of the other 3 crew members present that aren't Lyco?
I think Zig's just spooked by type. Oh my goodness!
Mm-hmm.
He is quite bizarre.
The computer started talking to me.
Amazing. So good. Okay. Did it say anything interesting?
No, it just started reading out what was on my own Discord.
You've obviously hit the read the messages button.
I did.
Mhm.
Apologies.
It's okay.
I forgot what I said now.
Okay, we're mostly
Yeah, no,
just
I think
waiting.
Zig's just a bit spooked, so he doesn't.
Mhm. Okay. I think in that case then.
He's kind of waiting for the response of like I don't know where Lyco is.
Mhm.
Just hoping he'd elaborate after that, you know.
Such hope.
Yeah, not too much.
Yeah, and I think like he's just standing there holding this cape now that he's got, and then kind of staring at it, and occasionally just looking around as if he's not really sure where he is. And then I think Ramasethu kind of motions to like the back corner of the room where you had walked in from, and she creates another door. And she says, "You must leave now. Take Sindel where he needs to go." Time has already passed.
Okay.
To be fair, that's always true.
Right. Let's go. Big. He's big. Is he big? He's pretty big, isn't he?
Sindel? No, he's the size of a person.
Person. Let's go.
Remember, he was big when he had his big weird chicken walker bone leg things that he hung from.
Okay.
But he discarded that way back on, I was going to say the Citadel, but I really mean Absalom Station.
Let's go,
Also,
guy.
those problems don't just automatically read.
Mhm.
Let's get you to wherever it is you need to go. Where is it you need to go? Where is it you need to go? Turn to Sam.
Yeah, she's gone.
Oh God.
She does.
You merely remember having that conversation with her.
Right, so we need to get you to someplace you need to go.
Yes. He smiles.
Did
Shall we?
Lyko tell us where he needs to go?
No.
I can't remember.
Did anyone tell
No.
Lyko?
Oh, I don't know. I just assumed Lyko would know. Lyko knows lots of
Is he
things.
actually explicitly stating stuff area?
Yeah. You just might have noticed, I'm not that kind of GM, right? Give you loads of details? Nah.
Not that in.
Exactly. Thank you. Brittany?
Yeah.
Okay. So
It's pretty bitch.
the big kind of blue cyany glowing doorway just kind of like flickers in the corner of the room where it wasn't before. And Cinderella says, "Well, after you." And kind of like just motions to the group vaguely. He motions randomly into the rest of this weird facility you seem to be into, though, not necessarily at the blue door.
Into the facility, and so through the door or through the deeper inside.
How are you asking that to?
Yes, indeed.
He just smiles back at you. And like,
Ah.
kind of like, almost like holds up the cape as if thanking the group.
Yes, no problem. So deeper inside.
He just smiles at you.
Does that mean yes?
What is your question?
We're going in there, wherever you gestures.
And he looks as if he doesn't like know what you mean. He's kind of like turning around to take in his surroundings more. You brought me here.
Okay, let's get out the door. Through the door. Let's go, and I'll go through the door.
Okay, well. Anybody else going through the door?
I mean, I'm following my captain, I guess.
Cool.
Admiral.
Mm-hmm.
Onwards. Yep.
I'm assuming you've indicated to Sindel to go through the door as well.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, Zora, you went through first, right? So, when you step through, there is like the blinding sunlight of Akaton, right? In its desert, wasteland that it is. And there's like a fairly large militia force, all pointing guns at you. And there's some turret emplacements now that definitely weren't there before. That would have taken time to move and fix. So clearly it has been at least a day, right, since you've been in this room for 5 minutes. So there's definitely that. And Grinning Durwa is there, kind of making his way out to the kind of the front of the group, as if he's clearly barking orders at people as well as he's heading his way over, waving probably 3/4 of his available hands in different people's directions, as he's guiding people. I hope people realise there are races with 4 arms in this game. Otherwise, it's really weird to talk this way. The fractions of limbs. Anyway, and Darwa, I shouts over to you. Where have you been?
Point behind me.
Yes, let's try a little more detail this time. And you hear like the whirring of the turrets as they, orient themselves towards the doorway.
So I thought a lot of nothing. Really, a wee bit like what's the thing it's called? Those chamber things. Shit just fits in them, even though it doesn't look like it should.
Null space chambers.
Are you even see it?
Nope,
see it?
just you.
Yeah. One of those things.
So Darwa's like, what was inside then?
Have you ever been in one of those things? It's a whole lot of that.
And he kind of just his eyes narrow, and then he seems to say something into his comm device. And then, like on the ridge, you can see some of the vehicles that are like surrounding the upper ridge of the desert basin you're in. And so it's almost like more vehicles with like heavy weapons mounted on them, like point their way down. You've been gone for quite some time, Zora.
Oh, kind of felt like 10-15 minutes.
He kind of chuckles to himself because that's his thing. His big, deep Christopher Judge chuckle, and he just shakes his head. And he says, "We have much to discuss." And then, obviously, you feel something bump into your back as somebody else walks through. And it's obviously, I believe, Zig went through next, right?
Ja.
So you can see some of the people like twitching at the fact that there's somebody else that's walked through as well. So yeah, some of the guns train on Zig, some stay on Zora, and then obviously not long after that we've got a Weird that comes through.
I raise my shield instinctively.
Yeah, and then as I said, you can clearly clock like there's big turrets there. There's like heavy weapons mounted on the back of like flatbed hover trucks. Like clearly Darwa's brought a lot of heavy stuff in to like secure this place. And then Darwa says over, "How many more?"
What?
Kind of narrows his eyes and goes, "Is this Quint we're waiting on?"
Uh,
So is that what you say, Weird? You say it was?
Yeah.
He goes, "Where'd you get the Isoki? Is this the treasure of the vault?" He says mockingly.
No, this is my treasure.
Oh.
oh.
Zig will remember this.
I think Callum will remember this, let alone Zig. Bring a tear to my eye.
And, yeah. And not long after that, naked Sindale walks out and kind of just stands in the lineup with you guys. All of the weapons retarget to him. And then Sindale just kind of like blinks his eyes a couple of times and looks at the crowd and then looks up at Zora and says, "Are they with you?"
Not quite. As I would kind of be like, I don't know, doing the hand gesture to lower your guns. The take it easy hand gesture.
And he goes, "So they are not friends?"
But you guys might want to put your guns down.
And then Durwa says, "That looks suspiciously like a bone sage, Zora." And being called Zora is a bit insulting, remember, culturally. If you think Durwa's smart enough to know that, then you know he's deliberately saying Zora instead of the Abyss.
Well, you'd be right, and might not want to point guns at bone sage.
This seems like an impediment to our journey.
Not wrong.
And he hands you his cape. Just like as you're like waving their guns to go down, he just like hangs it over your arm. And
did warn you.
he just waves his hand and all of them blow up. Like their bones just explode from their bodies. All of them. You can even see in vehicles and in turrets. Shrapnel in bone form everywhere.
A turret is weird inside, I would just say. Did warn them.
That included grinning Durwa, by the way.
It's not necessary.
Picks his cape back off of your arm, and just holds it again, and turns back to you, Weird. He goes, They were in our way.
Yes, but it was hardly polite.
Yes.
Let's just get out of here.
One moment. And then he just steps forward very, very slowly as he shuffles with his naked pale ass in
Gonna
the
make
sun.
armor out of him, isn't he?
And then he just slowly starts performing some bizarre, weird blood ritual out of all the mess. And no, the first thing he does is build a naked Lyco.
Okay. So that's quite a re-entry to the scene.
And then as you kind of like open your eyes and take like a kind of, sharp, scary breath in as the Acatonian atmosphere kisses your skin, shall we say, Sindel stares at you, smiles, and hands you the cape.
Yeah, I think he's mostly doing quite a lot of blinking at the moment.
Yeah.
Sort of looking down at the ground, side to side. Yeah, you can fill me in the details later.
You're
He
made
sort
out of dog,
slings the cloak around his waist like a towel. Recognizes what it is. Looks over to Weird and gives a sort of shrug of apology.
Weird shrugs back. Both sets of shoulders.
Yep.
that's a two-shoulder shrug. And yeah, like I think he's mostly standing around in befuddlement at the moment.
Yeah, I think probably like so is Sindel, right? Looking confused as he is. And he's
So-
mostly getting his own bearings there.
Does he have a face?
Yeah, he's just like a person.
Have a face.
Oh, you mean Lyco? Yeah.
I mean, I think he would have specified if Lyco comes back. Face though.
Oh, I meant Cindy.
Sindel has a face,
But
yeah.
there's something missing.
The face. So he puts that one upside down because Sindel's weird that way. But yeah, so he says, one moment. And then, yes, part 2 is him forming suitable attire out of the remaining remains of people. So he pulls it all together, and any kind of metallic parts he needs, he just strips off of surrounding guns, vehicles, or turrets, or whatever. He just pulls together what he needs to fuse things onto both him and Lyco.
Hey.
And then he kind of looks down at himself and then looks at you. And then it looks like somebody's took a quick glance at what the others were wearing and built something suitably similar, right?
Okay.
Yeah, like he's obviously just taking a quick look at what everybody... Yeah, it'll do. It'll mean you won't fry on Akaton. And then Sindel puts like a hand on your shoulder and says, I'm back thanks to you.
Yeah. Same, I guess.
He smiles.
Thank you. Now, what's our next step?
Precisely. Take me to your ship. And he just stands and like puts like his hands out and then like closes his eyes and looks to the sky.
Okay.
Can we see if MO is around first?
You can have a look if you want, yeah. Just want to just search the remaining campsite, as it were.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so you can head off to the tent that you seen that she would have been at. Nope. None of the equipment's outside it anymore. That was clearly taking readings from the doorway. That's not there anymore. And inside, nope. It seems to just be piled up with random crates, whereas before it was very Spartan. That Lyco was aware of, because obviously he was in there before. But there's no sign of MO, and there's not like black glass shards anywhere either.
Shame. Okay.
It doesn't ever take with her anyway.
You never get bored of seeing it either.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yep, MO. But yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to do?
It doesn't take means that there's no real moral objection to it.
Don't suppose all these vehicles got stripped to unusability, did they?
It depends what you're after.
I mean, we could use a new car, right?
Yeah.
We've done a buggy.
Yeah, I mean, you could just take one of the hover trucks if you wanted it.
Yes, or the
Does
truck.
does it fit anything though? The shuttle, that's a problem.
No, it would not fit in the shuttle.
No, not
See-
the-
It'll help us get there quicker.
Yeah, I suppose. Is it a buggy? Are there any buggies that would fit in the shuttle?
No.
Remember, it could
No.
be like a car. Right?
No vehicles can fit in the shuttle, sadly. No vehicles fit in the shuttle, but it's not to say that you can't just use, because remember you have 2 shuttle bays, right? So the shuttle fits in one. If you could find a way to lift the truck into the other docking bay, you could have that, but it would mean you'd need to just hard drop it onto a planet.
Do you want a strength check then?
But just to like throw it, I think it's more about aiming it with you, not so much can you throw it that far, but can you hit it that. True that, but I don't know how that works. I'd need to work out how your jets work in regards to what you can lift with them. You mad creation, you. Stupid androids.
I will have you know, weird is not representative of all androids.
This is true. You're a very
Let's
special,
not be
unique one.
Android racist on
He's an
internet.
extra level of bullshit.
So, Sandale is standing there, looking like he's about to ascend, but mostly just standing. What's everybody else
I
up to?
think we should sort of try and usher him into a vehicle, to be honest. See how that goes.
Okay. So,
I mean, I'm happy to be the one to do it if need be.
yeah,
I'm not driving though.
Somebody want to
I'm
give
tired.
somebody can give a vehicle a look over. Also, thank you very much for the follow. I believe that's Siren Nishandra, I believe. Welcome. Yes, so if you want to give the vehicles a look over with like an engineering check, or whatever the equivalent check would be, not culture, sadly.
I'm just joking.
But yeah, anybody else doing anything else at the campsite, or are we heading?
Yeah, I'm good.
I think we're good.
Okay, so who's approaching the hover truck that has had parts ripped off of it? We'll see if it's still functioning.
And do I take a look at us?
No, I'm alright, Captain.
God damn it. Take a look at it weird.
Yes, Captain.
Right, Lyko, if you want, you can like reach into your newfound piece of armor and like yank out the the cape if you want.
I think he probably's already long since done that.
Okay. Okay.
Fling it over the shoulder. My armor does technically have a cape with it, as I originally described. So he's now got a cape slung over one shoulder in addition to a pre-existing cape. Oh.
The vehicle looks completely fine. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. Couldn't possibly go badly.
No.
Yeah.
Just seems like there was like almost like a higher levels of radiation plating, so you wouldn't want to take this thing into anywhere like saturated with radiation.
But we'll at the very least be able to see the negative energy stuff that remains. Hopefully.
Well, if you had anything that lets you see radiation, then yes. But this truck will not protect you from it, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Our gear will.
Yeah. Because I think everybody
Like
gets like,
electro-
was it like free, whatever it was, medium radiation? I think it was. I think it has to be pretty severe before it actually affects anyone in any meaningful way. So.
Plus, I get like, as I say, 2 days, 2 days on top of my arm.
Which is nice. Yep. So yeah, he's all piling a big hover truck.
Yeah, I sort of gradually steer Sendale that way, assuming he's willing to come.
I think as you like interact with him, do you speak to him? Do you nudge him out of his weird T-pose?
No, I wouldn't just nudge him. I would sort of approach, try and get his attention and indicate to the vehicle they're checking over, and sort of Not sure exactly. It doesn't really terribly matter, but something like we're not going to take it on foot if we can avoid it. So, sort of just gesturing towards the vehicle.
And he goes, your ship is smaller than last time. He nods.
Oh no, it's just far away. We need to take. Well, it'll be faster if we take transportation to the ship. It's north a bit.
Yes. The guy just nods and then just walks off.
In the right direction?
Sure.
Good.
You did indicate the truck, right? So that's where he's
Yeah.
heading, yeah.
Yeah, just he hadn't specified, so I wanted to make sure.
As he just wanders off randomly.
Yeah, well, when you see it said he wanders off, there's,
Yeah.
could be anywhere.
Everybody piles in the truck then. Who is driving back to the shuttle?
Is that a piloting check?
I mean, it would be. Yeah, it's a piloting check for anybody that
Then
wants
yes,
to.
I'll do it.
Cool. Please do.
16.
Okay, so it definitely doesn't do anything as you start to the very stereotypical survival style movie where you start an engine and it just kind of chugs itself out. Yep, nope. You might have to find somebody better.
Okay.
Can I push, climb over weird and start pushing buttons and
Just take over essentially. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it'd be really funny if you got a 15.
I don't think I can get
I
a
know.
15.
I know. That's why it'd be really funny.
No, you cannot.
No, because you have plus a million.
You cannot get less than 25.
Didn't we establish this last time? I think it was last week we established that. Yeah.
I keep forgetting that I've got piloting as a skill as well.
Yeah.
What's the DC at our level anyway?
We did all that last week as well. It's
Secret.
I think it's 25, 30, and 35.
Okay, cool.
The ranges.
So,
But that is only using your level as the primer, not your level and a half as your primer. So
okay.
I don't really understand why there are two sets of rules for that. So I usually just make them either the baseline or if I think it's super difficult, I just bump it up 5. Which is why your engineering check of 29 was, this thing, you can tell it won't survive radiation. It will go. But yeah. Even if it is the worst you could possibly roll a 29 on engineering. Which is ridiculous. So, yeah, regardless of that, head back to the shuttle. Anything you want to discuss on the way back to the shuttle?
I think I'd ask Lyko, what happened? What was it like? Did you go somewhere, or did you just blow up and then just exist again?
Well, I'm assuming right. So I'll ask Ryan for a ruling as GM, because ultimately what happens in the afterlife is sort of up to Ryan. But given that I am a Barai, I would assume the answer would be nothing.
Yeah, you pretty much felt your molecules wanting to race away from each other in a moment, and then you opened your eyes and were in the Akatonian sun.
Yeah, that's sort of experience last time as well. So yeah, I think he sort of just thinks about it for a second, sort of considering his answer, and you'll be in the front seat, and I'll probably be somewhere in the back, so you won't even necessarily see him shrug, and then he'll realize after a second you can't see him shrug, and say, to be honest, I remember feeling not so great, and then I was naked in a desert. It's about the same as last time, except last time I didn't really know what was happening, and then I woke up in a Well, I thought it was a fridge or a freezer. It sort of was. It's less traumatic the second time.
Hmm. And I think Zig actually knows what he would say to that, because
Yeah,
it kind
fair.
of just
What do you
dawns
say
on
to
him
that?
that he's talking to someone about how they died twice.
Listen.
Are you concerned about the status of the afterlife?
I think Sindale answers that and just says, yes.
And I think that throws Zig a lot. Because he was about to say, I haven't really thought too much about it, and then he was like, oh my goodness, if it bothers him, it should really bother me. I think Zig just leaves it, he just doesn't say anything. He just kind of eyes on the desert.
My personal hope is that androids, computers, and all other machines go to heaven. But that for humans, there is nothing else.
I think like Sindale just nods, almost as if agreeing or comforting you. One of the two. Weird.
There would be an irony in that I suppose would be satisfying.
Such a nice conversation to have in the truck on the way to the shuttle, isn't it? I love it.
So dumb. I was just like passing out at this moment. Like
Just napping on the way back, yeah.
I'm not listening to this. I'm going to sleep.
This doesn't concern you, don't worry.
Sticks some Evanescence on his iPod and falls asleep.
Don't Wake Me Up Inside is what the song's called, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, unless there's anything else to discuss, you just make it back to the shuttle. The dropship. So, pile in, where to? I think as you are leaving the hover truck and getting into the shuttle, I think Sindale turns to you and goes, "Up close, it seems small."
Yeah. It's just a shuttle.
Are we there yet?
Don't worry, we'll be on the ship soon. The ship's more adequate.
Good.
Not quite one of those ultra colossal.
Super Colossal Ultranauts, yeah.
Yeah.
How could you forget the most simple name ever?
Yeah.
Super Colossal Ultranauts.
Not one of those super colossal ultranauts, but it's big enough.
Have you encountered many of those?
More than I would like.
Hmm.
He kind of just nods and just pats your arm.
Nod along with him. Pat his arm back.
He kind of just looks at you and, like, you know, looks at the fact that you've touched his arm and then looks at you again and goes, "What was that for?"
Same reason.
He looks back at his arm and then he just goes, "Unlikely." And just smiles and then just climbs in the shuttle.
I will
They scream.
Other shrugging.
Yep.
I will also go in the shuttle, of course.
Something else, since there's a lot of shrugging in spacesuits going on, in the Expanse series, the Belters, the people who work and live in space, they shrug with their hands because you can see that. Like, they do a lot of gestures with their hands, visibly, because you wouldn't tell a lot in a vac suit. So I quite like the fact that they've even considered that as ways of communication. It's kind of cool. It's a hard habit to shake.
Your belter.
Oh dear.
I've made that joke before, and I will make it again.
Oh, I know. I've got my
just
bingo
so
card
that-
stamped again, don't worry. I'm nearly at a full house.
Tea coffee.
Yeah. Right, you all get into the shuttle, you head up to the final hour, I guess, as opposed to anywhere else, right? Or he's going somewhere else.
We have to go somewhere else.
Don't know, I'm just asking. I don't want to make assumptions here, it's your ship.
So
You're the captain, Admiral.
That's true.
Bam.
did you see the bug guy? Weird.
No, I need to see the Queen.
Cool. Should we go to Azure Flare?
That would be
Probably
appreciated.
some clothes for. Oh wait, you've got clays now, right? They've got clays.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
they're in suits of armor now,
Yeah,
made from whatever was left on that, camp.
It's one of the death mantle things again, I'm assuming.
It's creepy as hell.
Yeah, creepy bastard, Lyco. Yeah, it's just the final level, Azure Flare, I guess. And go speak to the Queen. Get
Where is
stuff.
the Azure Flare?
Is it one? Orbit, Nakaton, somewhere? I thought, no, just got it like deliver. I don't know, where's it been since we went to Yorks?
Right.
Like, was pissed off, right?
Mm.
Let's go to the final level then, we'll send a wee communique.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess you head up there first to then try and check in with the Azure Flare to see if you can get in touch with Danida. You've backed out of the game.
Yeah. I'm back.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So you head up into space. You dock with the final hour, and then as soon as you leave the shuttle, the dropship itself, Alice is standing there with her arms folded, staring like she's super pissed off.
What?
She just stares at you. She's like, "Don't what me, Captain Admiral Late Pants?
What was I late for?
You abandoned me again."
What, we were away for like, what? 6 hours, 7 hours?
She points to the wall where there isn't a clock, and she says, "Check the time. You've been away for like 8 days."
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Wait, what?
No, that's again.
Wait, why are we looking at the wall? Lyco's probably still not in top shape.
Well, there should be a clock there for how many times I'm left alone.
8 days, huh?
She shrugs and goes, 7.5.
Well, God damn it. I mean, temporal doors and bone sages.
I think at that note, Cinderella just waves. Hello. She goes, "This doesn't mean you can keep doing this."
I blame Lyco.
She just
You're trying to
turns.
get the
She just
up.
turns to you, Lyco.
Yeah.
Goes, "You're not blue anymore."
Oh, I'm not. That's reassuring. Oh, that was to do with the electroencephalon of him actually points this into. So that should all be gone now, and he's here.
So he's the reason you're late, and you've left me alone for a week again.
Well, it's not really him. It was more something happened with the gateway to what might have been Ramasethu's ship. I'm not. Or maybe it was just her powers or something. I don't know. It's hard to say.
She looks at you all, and she goes, "Well, do you know what's easy to say? Fuck you guys." And she storms out of the shuttle bay.
Hey,
Well then.
oh, that was kind of rude.
Very.
None of this was Zig's fault, and that's really reassuring.
Zig just kind of awkwardly smiles. And I think can Zig just kind of go after Alice to kind of go see her? Yeah.
Do you find that she's clearly heading towards the mess hall?
Yeah, Zig's just gonna follow.
Yeah. Goes to the mess hall, opens up, the food storage container, whatever its space name is, the space fridge, and she clearly just pulls out something that is probably space ice cream, and then just takes the tub and puts a spoon in the tub itself. Turns around, notices you, like in the doorway, and then just like acts like she hasn't seen you, and then just starts eating from the tub as she sits down at one of the tables.
Can I grab a spoon and kind of sit up on the table and motion to eat some of her ice cream?
Yeah, I think like when you go around to like where all like, the cutlery and kind of plates and everything are stored, you can see across the countertop she's used all the cutlery to spell Alice is alone again. So you can lift one of the spoons out of that.
Yeah, he picks up a spoon. I think he instead of climbing up on the table, he'll sit on the thing next to her and just put like a hand on her back.
You can like, as you do that, you can feel like sit up that little bit straighter, as if, where's this going? And she just kind of still acts like she's ignoring you and eats more ice cream.
I think Zig will start kind of just rambling about. He'll just be like, when I was at the Solar Monastery, I was alone all the time. And I thought it was because nobody liked me, nobody wanted to hang out with me. It was partly that, probably, but really it was because I was supposed to be where I was supposed to be, you know? Times and places are weird, and you kind of need to be in the right place at the right time for the right things to happen. And sometimes it feels like the universe is just making you lose all your friends and stuff. And he just keeps probably just keeps spouting stuff like that. And then maybe he just kind of loses his train of thought and kind of stops and then just says, but ice cream's always best when you have someone to eat it with. And then he puts the spoon out and like as if asking if he can have some ice cream.
She exhales, very obviously for your benefit. She goes, and then scoops up ice cream with her spoon, and then just covers your nose in it. She gets up, and she just looks at you. And she does what she can to like, she doesn't quite smile, but she does that thing where you can tell like she appreciated that conversation. But she's still a bit sore. You know?
Yeah.
So she's like, with like a tight lip. And then, but clearly notably stood and stared at you to exchange that. And then she leaves the room.
That's fine. Zig, I think Zig gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, yep, you just need to leave her to do and sit through her upset. And maybe next time he'll make a mental note to actually like offer to take her down to wherever they're going or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And cleans the ice cream off his face and then eats some ice cream.
Yeah, nice. What about everybody else? Where you go when you say see Zig run off after Alice?
Reg.
Okay, yep.
Gotta get going where we're getting going to.
Yep. Zora? Oh, do we have a Zora?
Yes.
Was someone muted?
Maybe.
I am shocked by this revelation.
Some things don't change. Was that about when Zach spoke about the CC thing, or was it just to be able to say it too?
I said it as soon as I got taken out of the null space chamber.
So everybody would have heard, including Lyko.
Yeah. So, weird. You able to figure out how CC got in touch with Zig in the null space place?
I can investigate, but it may involve fundamentally reviewing our understanding of dimensional physics.
I think Cynthia looks at you and goes, I can help.
That would be appreciated.
Fantastic. You need to tell me how that goes. I probably won't understand the thing about it, but yeah, carry on.
I think Cynthia looks at you, Zora, and he smiles, and he pats your arm.
Is this like a CC gains like a gun thing? It's like...
Did we ever find out the answer to that? When we get him back, we should ask.
Yeah, like that. Was it comprehend languages spell that you had on him last time, and just ask
Yeah.
him that question?
That was very.
What's the gun for? I don't think Zig would be willing to ask that. I think he want he assumes that CC knows that Zig knows what it's for, and he doesn't want to breach that trust.
Yeah, it's an unspoken understanding and an ununderstood understanding.
I think I know the answer anyway, but I'm going to ask. Why did you just?
You don't want to break the unwritten rule, certainly.
Pat my arm.
You asked that to Cinderella, yeah?
Yeah.
Cinderella looked at you and goes, "It seemed you could use the comfort." He just smiles at you.
I appreciate the effort. Smile back.
He just looks at you and he says, "Don't." And then he just walks off out of the shuttle bay. Now that could have been, "Don't worry about it," or, you know, "It's no sweat," or "Don't smile at me." Like, we don't know. He just wanders off and then just starts looking as if he's noticing corridors that are interesting him.
I'm going to go and eat.
Okay. What's Lyko and Weird gonna do? I know you're off to the bridge, sorry Lyko. I've got you covered.
Yeah.
Sorry, Weird? Yep.
Suppose I had to go and look at physics and just start Googling.
Yeah, you just start bringing up, any files that will help on the subject.
Yes. Only half expecting anything relevant.
Yeah, and keep in mind though, if you're using the ship's computers to make models and stuff, you could go to the briefing room and just use the giant holo table, right? And remember, I think, is it a +2 or a +3? I think it's a plus. Bring up the ship stats again.
Plus the computers level, yeah. I think it's a +3.
Yeah, +2 computers in general. Yeah. Which is kind of nice. So, yeah, if you're using that, you'll get bonuses. Not that you specifically did, but it may as well use the ship stats for what they are.
That'd be a physical science, right?
Sure.
So that'd be a 35.
Nice. Yep, so make a note of that for now, and I'll come back to you with your constructing the universe. Trying to work out how, I guess, radio signals or whatever the hell's actually used for communication in this universe. How that can transmit through a null space chamber, blah blah blah. So my lip seems to be dry. Anyway, so got that. Lyko, you get to the bridge.
I do indeed.
Finn's standing there majestically in his, slightly orange glow, and he turns to you and he says, "Welcome back.
Thank you, Finn.
Are you taking command?"
Not just this moment. I don't want to jump the gun on anything, but I believe we will be departing shortly.
Are there unaccounted for weaponry aboard?
I look at him slightly strangely, tilted head.
He looks at you oddly as well. Jumping the gun.
Oh, I see.
A joke.
Well,
Quint.
yes, I get it.
And he holds up that holographic book of jokes and sarcasm. I've had plenty of time to read this, you see. As he gestures with the holographic representation
Alice
of the book.
has made us aware that we had been waylaid longer than we expected to be.
And he brings up a clock of when she decided to start a timer. And it is almost 8 days in. And he says, "Yes, I believe she started this when she could not raise you on comms. Or indeed how did she put it? Brain talk."
Yeah, Fair.
She seemed most distressed.
I agree with your assessment. Which actually, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but given her current state, I was somewhat concerned that she may be prioritizing confrontation over conveying any useful information. Is there anything to report from the last several days? Activity around the planet or such and such that we might need to know about?
Such as? And then he
Well-
like brings up like sensor data that the ship would just collect anyway.
So the our character, just in case I'm misremembering, we still had the police vessel in orbit, didn't we?
Yeah, you
Or
weren't
we
sure.
may have done.
Because remember, you went down,
Yeah.
and then you spent a wee bit of time down there, and you don't really know what happened up in orbit, really.
Well, then I wouldn't be specific about that. Then I would just say vessels in orbit, anything we recognize, any events from the surface that would register.
And he kind of just says, "There is nothing that stands out." And then he kind of like, it says, brings up the very quickly scrolling data feeds of the last 8 days, or the last 7 and a bit days, and he says, there was nothing unusual, if that's what you're asking for. No out of place vessels, but my parameters don't exactly specify out of place for Akaton. And he kind of does a Vesk grin at that. And he
Yeah,
says,
I sort of nod knowingly.
and he's like, if you could narrow my parameters, perhaps I would be of more use.
There was an individual who we encountered on the planet surface, one Emma O. Arrakis. I'm not sure what her mode of transport may have been to and from the planet, but she is likely to have left during the period we.
You can see he's obviously scanning like data files already, and it brings up a picture of her in like a data file for her. And he says, yes, I believe she currently holds offices on Triaxis.
Anything to indicate she may have headed there?
I would require more data.
She may have, due to her official status, she may have been able to travel aboard stewardship. It also seemed that she arrived at the stewardship on board a Yoxian ship, so that's also a possibility.
It's not only a possibility, but it is stressing one, if it is true.
It's certainly most unusual.
Finn does like a pose as he starts like rubbing his chin with a holographic hand, and then, clearly it's just all the holographic screens in front of them just start pouring through different cross-referencing, and comes up with, there were no stewardships surrounding Akaton in the last 8 days.
Any Eoxian activity?
And then a cross-references again, and it also comes out like the same zip. And it says, nope, unfortunately not.
Raises the chance that she's still planetside.
The interesting thing is that the Calm Before the Storm ship, I believe under the command of Steward Commander Babak.
I know it.
And he's like, that seems to be with the remaining steward fleet over Versus currently.
Yeah. Why were considering events going on in the area? Suppose it probably isn't anything worried about, but thank you for raising that my attention. I mentioned surface events, but that's perhaps too broad. If there's nothing that would alert your scans, what about traffic to and from where was that's McKechlick again? Was he in Daza?
Yeah.
Yeah, he still is, I take it.
Yeah, because you left him, assumedly, right? He's still there with Query.
Yeah. So that would probably be my next concern. Be like any traffic from Daza that stood out at all in any way, unusual readings, vessel types, etc. I know you've sort of been over this. But
And Aircraft references, any of just the passive scans would just have been basic ship profiles, right?
Yeah.
Nothing detailed, but it would just list a lot. Like we're talking thousands of ships, right? Because obviously that's 8 days worth of traffic in space. And Daza, sorry, not Daza. Well, Daza's a big city. It's obviously very populated because of the reactor nonsense and the jobs that lie within there. But it's also shady as hell, as you know. Same with all of Akaton, and given the fact that Absalom's gone and the stewards aren't quite on top performance, you could probably imagine Akaton's doing a lot better under this current circumstances.
I probably don't have a comm unit at the moment.
No, you probably don't. To be fair.
I wonder if we could excuse the price of whatever comm unit is and see we had some spares in the ship.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's easy enough. Just ask Finn to furnish you with one, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I will do that. Check what it costs and deduct it. And
They're
also
not
say,
expensive.
Finn, could you send that data to a comm? I seem to be mine seems to have become compromised. If you could send any data relating to the transport from transit from planet or
If you
originating
wish, I could
our
have it
planet.
sent to your office.
That also is a good option. Thank you.
He kind of just nods. Of course. You are head of security after all.
Thank you. It's nice. It's nice to hear someone else say it.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I am taking my job seriously here, right?
Yeah, this is the most head of security thing you've done so far. I like it. It's good.
It is actually. I'll head to my office and pour over the data then. Thank you again. Then I will be on my way.
I will
And he
be
sort of just
attending the bridge if required.
Sort of just saunters off at that point, slightly distracted by his puzzlement over the return to Verces. Like, why are they no longer in the area? Given everything, I mean, obviously there are very good reasons for being Verces, but
yeah, I mean, it is the home of the stewards. It does seem to be where Babak was operating out of. So, yeah, but yeah, interesting. So, Zora, where are you?
I think I went to the mess hall.
I guess it's you and Zig in the mess hall then, assuming Zig's still there eating ice cream.
Yeah, he'll still be there.
I probably went there just to munch away as well, to be honest with you. Is Alice still there? She's
No,
still angry.
Alice left.
Alice left.
Yeah, she'd been gone before you got there.
Yeah, I'll probably just grab some food. Well, I guess I'll grab food stuff.
Yeah, just go to the food thing, get food, sit down.
Food.
Yeah.
Lunch, said food.
I think as you're sitting munching away, right, unless you're going to speak to Zig about anything, something slinks its way into the room. And it's Ivan.
Ivan.
Just slinks his way up and just, like, I would say stares at you. That's very difficult to state as a cube.
Fucking yeah, looks.
Yeah, just stands next to the table where you are. Yeah.
How's it going, Ivan?
It wobbles a little.
Aw.
You've been budding up.
Just kind of stands there.
Would you like some ice cream?
It wobbles a little.
Zig just dumps the tub with whatever remaining ice cream is in it onto Ivan.
Yeah, and I think you hear the hissing of the tub being disintegrated, and then the ice cream just like slopping through the cube slowly.
Okay. Chuck him a fork.
Yeah. And again, yep, same hissing sound as the cube dissolves the fork. It kind of wobbles a little.
Why is all my friends I can't understand?
I'm just going to double check that comprehend languages isn't a touch spell.
I think we
Didn't
established
already
it couldn't work on the cube.
yeah.
Oh, could it not?
Yeah, sadly we learned that it was not.
Because wasn't it when we were sort of working out whether or not you could do because some of
the
the
field,
requirements are there.
the telepathy field. Yeah. Yep.
But I can include them in the telepathy field because it's such low requirements.
Was it though? Wasn't there other specifications that excluded them from it?
Oh, maybe.
I thought it was like his type.
I feel like we checked this last time and I've forgotten now.
Yeah.
Listen, forget rules.
It did actually work for him, like because it was like
He's
-3
4 power
intelligence or
grand.
something like that.
Yeah, I remember it was like the modifier was super low, regardless. But wasn't it the actual type of creature it is?
You forge a telepathic bond between yourself and a number of willing creatures. Each of must have an intelligence score of 3 or higher, or a modifier of -4 or higher. Each creature included in the link is linked to all the others. Blah 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 blah. I don't think it actually says anything about creature type, unless the ooze thing. Maybe it was the assembly ooze had something about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't read that. Something like that.
I don't know. I'd need to cross-reference. And
Anyway, I'm not going to do that to you anyway. You do not
Yeah.
have to be
I'm not-
Ivan in common. Don't worry.
I don't even know what that would be like, I'll be honest. It was weird enough trying to think of what CC was like, never mind what Ivan would be like. Just constant screaming, "Feed me!"
More ice cream!
Oh, it doesn't seem to have touched
Cream.
ice cream. Definitely
Is it
hasn't.
just kind of floating around or just
It's just slowly descending through the cube.
fascinating?
Anything else in the mess hall to deal with?
Unless Ivan's doing anything wacky, I'm probably just going to eat and then I'm going to go find out what needs to be done next, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I guess if you stop interacting with Ivan, he's just going to like leave the room, and then as he leaves the
Yeah.
room, he just leaves
I
the ice
think
cream
before
mess
he
behind.
leaves,
Mhm.
I would Zig would like to put another type of food stuff in.
Okay. What you putting in now?
Just, like a breakfast bar or something, you know.
Okay, gonna unwrap
just
it.
Yeah, unwrap it.
Okay, just sinks through him, the same as the ice cream did. He just wobbles.
And Zig takes a mental note of that.
And he just
Very interesting.
slinks away and leaves an ice cream mess on the floor with a breakfast bar in it.
I think Zig would clean it up before going to the bridge, but he would.
Okay, yeah. Okay, back to weird, I guess then. Since we're leaving weird situations to go back to weird. Still with us, Alex? Here's hoping. There we go. Okay, so, ask me some questions based on your physical sciences role. You're in the room. Did you go out of your way out of interest to wrangle the wandering Sindael? Or
No.
did you just leave him? Yeah, okay.
Sindile is a force of nature who cannot be contained in the realms of a single conversation.
Cool. So he's obviously just wandering the ship currently then. Perfect. So you're in the. I assume you did use the briefing room, and
Yes.
yeah, so you get a big map of the table up, or just using the table to map everything, and yeah. What do you want to know? Ask me questions, see what I can answer, because you got a 35. It's pretty good.
Are null space chambers part of our dimension?
You want to say that again in the form of a question?
I said, are null space chambers part of our dimension?
No.
Our plane. Okay.
There you go. Nope. You can ask more though. Don't worry. 35 is good.
Yeah, trying to put it into plain English is fun.
I know, right? But you can explain concepts, right? Like I don't mind if you want to kind of give me the gist of it, and I'll try and give you the gist of an answer. Same as everything else. It doesn't need to be just you coming up with these. I don't mind if other people would give you stuff that they think weird could come up with.
Are those pocket dimensions contingent on our dimension? Although I don't know if we are to know that because we can't destroy our dimension.
So the interesting thing, right?
Yeah.
What might start playing through your head is if the interface for that micro dimension is anchored in our dimension, the assumption would be yes. Because either it would unfold and undo itself, or it would be locked and nobody could get to it.
Okay.
Right? That would be like your two models you'd be working with. So null space chamber, the device itself is the interface to get into it and out of it. So if that was destroyed, what would happen to the location? Would it just be exposed and thus no longer be secure and thus stop being its own independent thing in the greater sea of dimensional space? Or would it just be sealed until somebody could build the right interface to get back in?
But could they build that interface from another dimension?
I think based on the information you've got, probably. Right? Given the fact that you've experienced the vault before?
Yeah,
Like,
so
yeah.
The pocket dimension is potentially accessible from another place if you have intimate knowledge of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you'd be comfortable in knowing that, yeah. Especially given the trans-dimensional journeys you've been on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they're functionally independent, but access to them is contingent on this dimension.
That you're not 100% on though, remember, because you don't know what would happen if the interface itself was destroyed. You don't know if there would be, like, for example, let's say somebody's null space chamber was destroyed somewhere, right? They just blew up. Like, let's say one of those guys that was part of the Syndial squad moments ago had one on their belt. Because the device itself is destroyed, we don't know if that's now something you could dial into or if it's gone into the greater sea of, whatever.
So it's not that it slots into the filing cabinet of the multiverse as a separate dimension.
I guess here's a visual for you. Like a bindle that somebody would hold over there in a stick, and it's got a wee bag and it's full of their stuff, right?
Yep.
Like, the stick would be how you've got a hold of it. But if you pulled the stick out, does that undo the knot and everything falls open and then you lose everything? Or does it just stay knotted and falls on the ground and somebody else scoops up with a stick? Right? I suppose that's the two models you're not sure which way it would be. And arguably some might work different ways, right? Depending on whatever science has been used to manufacture in that way, or magic I should say. Because surely some smarter wizards, if you will, would have, or technomancers, would have woven it in a way that they could lock them and have one device that could interface with multiple different pocket dimensions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the PC in Pokemon, as opposed to the Pokeball itself.
Should I set Butterfree free?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the right thing to do.
He serves us. Do I think the CC would have that sort of intimate knowledge of the normal space of my particular dimension?
I don't know if I can answer that.
Okay.
CC has been pretty bright. What have you helped CC do? Because you weren't working on the drift suit with them. I think it was only really Zora that was working on the drift suit with them, so that's a pretty big project, given that drift drives are big and need to be in big things, and are very, very dangerous, because they like to make bubbles of a reasonable size to take ships through, and they don't necessarily like to just take people through. And people being exposed to drift space, as we know, seems to be dangerous from what we experienced ourselves. So who knows what CC is seeing? Excuse me. But I don't know. I don't know how I could answer it. Does Weird think CC's smart enough to do that? I think that's only something you could answer.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I guess it's more whether how long do I think it would take someone to figure out the whatever dimensions I need to work in, whatever coordinates I need to work
Like-
in to identify that.
you could look at the fact that when you had your drift accident, right, and you
Mhm.
ended up somewhere, somewhen, talking to possibly Triune or bits of Triune. You seem to be not really constrained by time or space. You just seem to be until you were put back somewhere that you asked to be put back to. Much like Zig was asked to put back somewhere and somewhen. So if Drift has access to that level of space, then it wouldn't be that big a leap to think that Drift could be weird enough to interact with null space chambers. You know?
Okay.
I'm sure there's other amazing metaphors like a balloon and something bad happening that I could use, but it's probably the best my limited human non-scientist brain can actually manage for the techno magic that's in this game. Anybody else got any other questions I think that Weird could ask?
Not a scoop.
This might be beyond me.
I don't think any of us are likely to have any
Technical
smarter
mechanics, not
questions
for me.
about anything vaguely related to maths or the hard sciences than Alex probably. But would you describe it as being at all like a vampire?
In the way that sometimes they have reflections and sometimes they don't. No, I
Okay.
wouldn't.
Okay,
Uh,
that's probably reasonable.
yeah. Okay. Anything else weird?
No, I can't think of anything.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. Who is doing what now? Tell me, guys. What's the next scene?
Well, if I may, I would like to go about that investigation of the data, which I suspect is going to require some rolls.
Probably. Yes. So you get to your office that you realise, wait, I've had an office.
Yeah, in fact, as I enter the room, I say, "Hey, I've got an office," and then the scene continues.
Yeah.
Immediately made made my conspiracy board within 5 minutes of entering the room.
Uh-huh.
Like, there, it was missing something.
Yeah, you pull it off your data pad thing, throw it on the wall. Yep. I think you find when you get into the room, there's just clearly the comm is there on the desk for you. Yeah, you can download your profile onto it, send your conspiracy board to the wall. It's now a nice hologram projection on the wall. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to use the hard light to interact with my data as well. Surely.
Of course. Yep. Of course. Yep.
I take it you want some computers rolls for that.
No. So ultimately, it's like investigate, right? Is what we're doing here.
Okay. Yeah, and specifically, so would it be sense motive? Fuck no, it would be space cop. I mean, sense motive. I'll always take if I can, but I don't think it would be. Space cop,
it depends.
maybe, or
What are you after? I think is the better way to ask.
so specifically, the first thing I want to look at is the traffic. And this probably will take him a while. The traffic to and from Daza over the week or so. Because obviously my concern is, has MO left the planet, and if so, did she do it from Daza? Because that could be a worrying sign.
So the
should probably
problem you'll have with
contact
this is
Navkeklik.
nobody really registers their name on transports leaving
Yeah,
Akaton in general.
But- would there be anything I might recognise having worked with both the Aspis Consortium and also having worked as a steward like anything that just anything that would
Okay,
be a
so
giveaway for like a
give me
generic
some keywords
transport
then that you're going to
vehicle
limit
being
this with, because you've got thousands of ships to work with, right? So
used.
let's just say, for talking's sake, just because I can't be arsed with numbers, let's say there is I don't know, 500,000 ships that have came and gone.
That's a lot.
Yeah, space is big. Yeah.
It's true.
And keep in mind, free space and free trade now on Akaton, probably a lot better. But keep in mind, this is like the better part of like, a week plus since you stopped tracking stuff, and you've been away for a week, but then you also did the whole Eox mission and everything, because you have left the camp before the storm for quite a while now. It's maybe probably close to a fortnight now, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I would be looking for like any models, for instance, that I knew were frequently used by Aspis.
so anything related to Aspis, I'll write that down as a keyword, right? So
Yeah.
Aspis related. Right.
Obviously, we have an indication that there was nothing Eoxy and nothing Steward, so I can rule those out. Anything that might generally flag up interest, so I think we have to consider the possibility that, considering she was willing to use gangsters as muscle, that she might be using them as transport also. So anything that would seem like, that seems like it's just generally fishy. So
So
kind
do
of
you want to
generic
factor in?
signs of
Do you want to factor in
cumulativity.
Hive Market then, as a base of leaving, as opposed to
I want to
Daza?
focus on Daza first.
Okay.
Just because I have a strong feeling that she'll have been on the tail of Query, and if she's found them, it's likely to been there. And I don't know that I would be particularly eager to just calm Nazma Keklik in case that draws attention to him from anyone observing us.
Okay, so we've got Aspis related from Daza. Obviously, the fact that you said Aspis related, I don't intend to write down no stewards or Eagsons, because I feel that's covered by it being specifically stuff Aspis would use. From Daza, obviously. What about transport size? Is that or number of passengers, for example? Is that an issue? Because it could be single passenger or two.
I think she would be inclined to probably try and transport on something small for minimal.
Okay.
For maximum comfort, but also for I would be inclined to think that she would probably want to do her business as privately as possible if she were going about something clandestine.
Okay.
Not that we know she would be, but yeah, I don't imagine her getting on a great big hauler with thousands of other people if she doesn't have to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, she's not exactly the type to share a bunk, really. So I'm gonna put small ships and a private. I think I'll add in as well. Yep. Any other keywords that other people want to throw in to help Lyco's search here? Because we've got Aspis related from Daza, small ships, private. Anything else that could narrow down his search parameters? Because the more you narrow it down, the easier the role is.
I don't know, sure.
Sig?
I don't know.
The ultimate goal is to track whether or not MO left the planet.
Yeah, and Daza is just somewhere that I guess that she would be going. Could be that you suggest that maybe this is the wrong tree to be barking up, but I'm personally going to roll it anyway.
I think it's worth rolling, yeah. It's
No. Yeah, definitely.
It's just a lot of data. That's the problem. And obviously, if you're going to sit and look at every ship individually, you'll be here for, well, maybe years, depending on how long it took. So, yeah.
If I can narrow it down a bit first, and then maybe I can think about ways to narrow it down further after.
Yeah, but the keywords we've got so far are pretty good. As I said, Aspis-related stuff that you would be familiar with from your past, just not only working for them, but being a space cop. Obviously, Daza, transport specifically, small ships and private, or as private as you could possibly get, based on her personality. Yep. Anything else? Anybody else can think of? What about yourself, Weird? Any thoughts?
Nothing springing to mind. I think I wasted my brain juice.
That's fine. That makes sense. I kind of feel like I wasted mine too.
Yeah.
Very finite thing, to be fair.
Okay, do you want to do your investigate then? We'll see how we do.
I'm actually rolling space copper.
Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah.
Okay.
36.
You managed to get the numbers down to 50,000. Yep.
Yeah, so I haven't narrowed it down at all.
I mean, by a factor of 10, you have. By getting rid of anything that seems unrelated to the keywords you've put in. The problem is,
50,000.
no, 500,000 chips was the initial number.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, 500,000. Now you've narrowed it down to 50,000, which is quite a lot less. So you're working with a tenth of the data now, if we stick with our fractions.
I think I need to ask Finn for some assistance again.
Sure.
I just see his name.
Yeah,
I
he'll
guess he's mentioned.
he'll appear in the room. Yeah, he'll glow. Yep.
I've managed to bring this data set down to something slightly more manageable, but I'm having a bit of trouble narrowing it down further, and don't have forever to pour through it all individually. Do you have any suggestions, or I'm trying to find ways that perhaps aren't occurring to me at the moment to further narrow down or quicken the search. I've looked so far for anything that might indicate a connection to Aspis, or anything that they would be likely to use to hide a connection. I've looked for general signs of clandestine behavior, the usual suspects, but I'm still looking at a list of 50,000. Do you have anything you can do to reduce that?
If you can provide more specific parameters, I could filter out the remaining results for you.
Sure.
What precisely are you looking for?
I'm looking for a ship that could reasonably have carried the individual we mentioned earlier. Very, let's call her a high value person, to and from Akaton with minimal attention. That doesn't necessarily mean it wouldn't get attention so much as it wouldn't draw attention to her presence. I don't want to rule out anything on account of it being too flashy, but this is where I'm encountering a problem. Is that beyond narrowing it down to things that plausibly could be Aspis, I haven't gotten much further.
Can I interface directly with your data?
Please.
And it comes up like, on your comm device, permissions required.
I'll tap the
Yes.
tap the appropriate place.
Yep.
As you see, it's just a reduced version of the data you sent me.
And then he stands there and he says, "If I may, be so bold, Quint. Or is it Chief now? I am unfamiliar with colloquialisms."
Please, Quint is always preferred.
He nods and says, "You have an email that you perhaps should read." And it brings up like your inbox, and it is a Aspis personnel email.
Intriguing. I flick it off on hard light.
Yeah.
And have a look at it.
And it's essentially from, like a very generic template from Aspis, and it is a meeting with MO that has been set up and is awaiting your confirmation.
Intriguing.
It has an open-ended appointment time, which basically means you can say, "I am ready," and then you'll be sent an appointment.
Any indication of where?
No.
No. This is.
You can you can see this at a glance. This is her saying. Remember, you said that chat before you went through the door.
Yeah.
This is basically her way of saying, "If you ever come back out and look at your emails."
Yeah.
This is her way of being like, "At least I haven't because she didn't obviously necessarily know what ship you were on. So
Okay, this is encouraging. When did I receive that? Probably just as soon as I went through the door.
it was probably like a day later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Encouraging. That might be an indication that she did go off world. If she was waiting around anyway, I suspect she would probably have tried to do this in person.
Yeah. Finn also then says, I could filter out the 50,000 results down to that specific day if you wished.
That would be helpful, thank you.
He kind of nods and then gives you a list of 5,000 ships.
5,000 is more manageable.
Mhm.
If we can keep on knocking a digit off every time, this will be actually quite easy. Let me think. What we can do to improve this. I think before I go any further with this, I should try and make some checks on the welfare of a certain individual on the planet's surface. How secure are our communications over that kind of distance? Could we safely calm someone on the surface without interception?
The encryption from our side would be difficult, not impossible with the right skill set, but difficult to break. Given Agaton's level of technology on average, it is unlikely people would be able to crack our comm system. However, the recipient's device may be substandard.
Unfortunately, that's likely. I will consult with Weird before I do anything.
Anything else, Quint?
No, I don't think so. Thank you very much. You've been most helpful. I'll see if I can work my way through the 5,000.
My pleasure. And then he blinks away. There you go.
Yay!
It's a lot less of a
5,000.
number to deal with.
Yeah. I'm curious because like I do want to just sort of buzz down to Nazma Keklik and go, "You all right, pal? He's still in one piece." But equally, I am concerned he will be being monitored, or communications from Daza will be being monitored.
Yeah.
She's got to know if she worked. The chances that she worked with Durwa and didn't know that he had Query in his possession at one point very recently.
Yeah,
She's
because it
got to
seemed
know
like
that Query's at one more.
Durwa, MO, and Q-Bob were working together, it seemed. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, my concern is that she may have either figured out that Query was on World, which I think is very likely, or even been able to. I was going to say obtain, maybe apprehend would be better. Apprehended him in the meantime, and I don't know what the best way to go about that without alerting her is. So my first stop is saying, well, do I have any indication she's off world? Well, so far there seems like the fact that she sent that maybe is an indication. So that's sort of what I'm trying to work out. Like, does she know
She
he's in
get fed up
Hackathon
and
and
just
has
was
she
like,
not?
she waited today and went, well, fuck him. Send
Yeah.
generic email, see if that's gonna like a fishing line,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good angle though. I think definitely. As I said, like if you and Finn keep working on it, like you don't necessarily need Finn, but like if you keep working on different ways to like filter out results that are irrelevant, yeah, makes sense. The crew, what's the plan then? At the moment, because I know Lyco's gonna like speak to Weird in a moment and obviously calm McKeklick as McKeklick himself. What about Zig and or Zora as you finish up your meal?
I think Zig's plan was to just clean up and then head to the bridge and kind of, because I know kind of wait from word back from the Azure Flare.
I was actually about to go send a communicado to said Azure Flare.
Yeah, so I think maybe Zig leaves first then, and Zora, you finish your meal in peace then. And Zig, you head up to the bridge, and you see Sindale just looking around the bridge.
Oh, Hello.
He kind of he looks up as if like a meerkat, and then turns around and then smiles at you and goes, "Ah, the small one. Hello."
You find everything okay?
Was I supposed to?
Just curious. I don't think it's a particularly terribly laid out vessel. And Zig's like notably like nervous talking to Sindel. He's very kind of just feels uneasy.
Mm-hmm. Sindale's not really sure what you meant by that, because now he's wondering if he was supposed to have been doing something. And he just kind of like leaves the bank of consoles that he was kind of standing over and just walks more towards the central kind of raised up part where the captain would stand. And he kind of just looks at you and goes, "You are the most powerful of the crew, yes?"
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, Weird's got all these amazing things. The
He waves
captain's
his hand,
gravitate.
right? Like he waves his hand to try and cut you off. He goes, "Not a question."
I don't think Zig has a response. Because I think in his mind he doesn't. Like he just doesn't believe that. Like the
Yeah.
crew are just very able, and strong. Even Lyco's got fancy bone arms and can
That's-
shoot something from 4 billion miles away.
To be fair, that's more about my gun than me, but continue. I like it.
Zig can. Like, first of all, Zig probably can even hold your gun. let alone- And yeah, obviously, his captain's got like a very, big presence, and
He's calling you fat,
Weird
Zora.
is-
Not wide, okay.
I don't know, you've been white a couple of times to be fair.
Hey, that's
Not wrong. Quite a lot.
So, I think like as you're like mulling this over in your brain, being like, I'm not the most powerful, like everybody else is really skilled, what would you mean? He just kind of sits cross-legged in front of you, staring at you. Like he just kind of like drops and stares.
Yeah, I think Zig would probably take like a good like second or so to actually notice that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he like kind of comes back into the room and kind of just be taken aback, like, oh, yeah. I don't know.
He just stares at you and smiles.
I think Zig very like nervously smiles and kind of takes a step towards him. Just
Yeah.
kind of like taking him in properly for the first time, because I don't think he's ever actually just looked at Sindel. Sindel just seems to be this scary
Mm-hmm.
bone sage mythical thing that you kind of just don't look at, and he's kind of just taking him in properly.
He's probably one of the few you've ever actually seen, because obviously the Archivist is questionable whether that was a bone sage or not, right?
Mhm.
And Ramasethu is mostly veiled, right? So it's difficult to see beyond that. And obviously you don't want any of the nightmares the captain's probably had about bone sages, so...
Yeah. I think you just look at Sindel and
the
just
PTSD was about the swarm.
This time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he just look at him and just say,
I don't think the swarm can like make armies explode.
that is just literally what I was going to bring up. It's terrifying. He can just wave his hand and people explode. I mean, that's horrifying.
Mm.
Yeah, you'd say, well, you must be awfully powerful to just... And then does an approximation of the arm waves.
Mm-hmm. Sindel like fake ducks under your arm wave.
I don't think Zig's impressed.
And then Sindel looks at you and just smiles again. And says, "Power." And like nods like once in your direction. And kind of looks at you as if he's asked a question there.
I think Zig just asks him, what do you see as power?
And Sindel just shrugs, as if he has no clue. And he says, "You see me as power?" And he's like posing that question to you.
Strong man.
I think I see you more as powerful as opposed to power itself. And then I think he sits down and kind of thinks about what he actually just said. Like, wait, hold on. That didn't make sense to me either.
And like Sindel like nods and goes, "Yes, important distinction. Power is, and powerful may be." He kind of nods sagely at you. And he says,
I think I get the difference is important, but I don't know what the difference is. He scratches his chin.
I think Sindel just kind of watches you do all that, as if trying to read you. And he says, "I have access to power, but does this make me powerful?"
Just because you can use power doesn't make you powerful. I suppose how you use it is more important.
Yes.
And then Zig like has like many flashes of irradiating bandits, and then
all of Zig's use of power. Yes.
Yeah, like he's like, and then that'd be like cut with like healing.
It's Zig in the middle of the shot, and then
ship,
like the
and then-
flashback on one half is all the bad things you've done with power, and then all the good stuff you've done with
Yeah.
power. Yeah.
And that's just kind of like
Sindel looks at you and says, "I have done many things, and I will do many things with power, as will you."
done many not so good things with power.
He waves his hand, like dismissively. "Good for who?"
I guess not good for someone.
He smiles, just like as if he doesn't have like a verbal response, he'll just smile. And then he says, "The Bone Sages are feared, but we are few now."
All I know are some just scary stories from what people tell me. I've never experienced much.
And then he kind of nods, just as if, and says, "We are few." And kind of nods again. And he says, "People fear us. People attack us through fear."
I think Zig just sits there and kind of maybe kind of moves his head to one side and just kind of looks at Sindel and just I don't think he says anything. I think he just kind of nods kind of like solemnly.
Yeah, the deep thought nod of, I never thought about it that way. And Sindel just kind of, again, staring at you as if reading as many reactions as he possibly can from you. but then just breaks the silence again and says, "Most fail. Why?"
Because you're powerful.
He laughs. It's this horrible echoey hollowy thing that fills the room, and he says, "Why?"
Because you need to be.
He smiles. As this I will leave you to consider. And he kind of like taps you on the head, like somebody a bit scared to pat a dog. And then he stands up with a creepy, almost marionette motion, and then just like walks away.
I don't think Zig even like. I think he's kind of too deep in thought to acknowledge that he's left.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously he like not out of like rudeness or anything, just kind of
Yeah, just
very-
deep thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Zora, you approach the bridge. You pass Sindale. Sindale just waves at you and says, "Hello."
Hi.
He just walks past and keeps walking unless you stop him and interact with him.
No. No. Creeps the living shit out of Zora. And
I love the idea that you have a bone sage on board and you're like, just let it do its own thing. It's best. Like you did
It's
with
best left to
CC,
his own
like you
device.
did with Ivan.
best today would be him. Oh, it's like, can you give me a lift into the planet at some point?
Yes, Captain, Admiral. Yes.
Good. I need to go pick up some crap that I'm really interested in seeing what it is off Cubub.
Do you need to go soon or now or later or?
I'm going to send a communication to the Azure Flare first and see where they are.
And then I think Zig kind of like fully comes back into the room at that point of like, oh
Yeah.
yes, no, the whole reason I'm here.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
So I'll just do it. I'll like press like one button on the console really slowly because like bad fingers,
Uh-huh.
and I'll just be like, "Do you want to do this?
Sure.
You can do this."
Okay.
It's exactly talking to people in real life right now.
Well, I will do this then, but I'll start tapping, finger at a time.
Yeah. So what do you send to the Azure Flare?
Sorry about that.
Just asking for the location essentially.
Yeah.
Probably about that.
Basically just check in, essentially.
We are back in the map.
Yeah. Do you send that off? And it just comes up message sending, awaiting response. Which means it's not been received, which means they're unlikely to be in orbit unless they're the exact opposite side of the planet.
Okay.
So the assumption there would be they might not be orbiting Hackathon.
Okay. It's just taking about send, I'm assuming. Okay. Well, looks like they're all here. Sick. So, that lift.
Yes. Did they say they were going anywhere? I don't.
I mean, last time we spoke was at Yorks, right?
Do you mean when you accidentally kidnapped Thanaida? Yeah. Then she took her ship away. That was the last you heard of her. Yep.
Oh well, if it'll take some time for them to get any message. Okay, right. And then Zig will just kind of wander towards the shuttle bay.
Mm-hmm. I'll also wander towards Shelby.
Yeah, I think as you get to the shuttle bay, or just onto the shuttle, I guess, Alice is there, her hands on her hips inside the shuttle, being like, well, Captain.
Hi, do I go on a trip?
Looks like we're all going on a trip. She looks between the two of you suspiciously, and that's where we go to break. So, give me 2
Looks
seconds.
like we're all having golden showers.
No. very close. It seems to be working good. Yep, so welcome back to the Fragments of Eternity, Session 88, Part 2. I'm Ryan, the GM. Here are players of this game.
I did that thing where I forgot that I wasn't mute, so I muted myself in order to unmute. Hello, I'm Colin, and tonight I will in fact be playing Lyco Quinn, who is your fully incorporated, tangible, and functioning being. He is space cop, coast to coast. I've done this all out of order, and frankly, it's fucked. It's fucked. Hi, I'm Colin. I'm playing Lyco Quinn. Next.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. I'm Deco. And I'm playing Zora, the Vest Captain.
Is that it? Well, hi,
Yeah.
Alex, and I'll play Weird, the android theoretical physicist and mechanic. And tank. And arachnid.
But I appreciate that part.
Thursday.
Hi, I am Zig, and I will be played by Callum, who is portraying me as a mystical space rat from the sun.
Well done.
Do you like how I saved that? I saved that.
That's
really-
alright, yeah. Yep.
In fairness, I'm so used to being called Zig now, in just like general.
Yeah, I know. It's quite a cute nickname. I'm sorry. Like Zig is you know.
Really, what it is because I can't actually act, and it's just that Zig is me, and I am Zig, and that's that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Sure. Right. So we were on the bridge, and we did have the revelation that the Azure Flare probably isn't in orbit. So, who is where and doing what?
But we were on the shuttle and getting
We're heading to
hijacked by an
shuttle.
Atlas.
Yes.
Yep, that's true. Not telling anybody else that you're leaving the ship.
I'll brain everyone that we were heading if
Fucking
the
brain.
captain didn't do before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll brain everybody.
So,
Cool.
likely you don't hear any of that.
Of course.
Because he died. Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know they're going to the surface. Oh, that's unfortunate, because I was going to suggest that they might drop in a friend of ours.
Mm.
How does it feel to be dead for a second time and alive for a third time, Lyco?
I mean, I feel like we had that conversation in the car.
I mean,
God.
how does it actually feel now that you've like stretched your legs?
How does it
Hey, you're
feel
feeling pretty good.
to treat me like you do? Yeah.
What do you feel a bit fresher?
I mean, I think he's pretty much his usual self.
Less decay.
Hey, that's rude. He was very, you know, nice.
Okay, good.
Like,
Glad to hear that.
Lyco was always very much like, he looked a bit spooky, but he didn't look really dead. I mean, you could tell something was deeply wrong if you got him like that, but like he didn't
Be a bit ill.
have like bits falling off or anything.
Okay.
That we know of.
Yeah.
That we know.
Yeah. I mean...
You're so vulgar. I come
What?
in here and I try and just like have a nice civilized conversation with friends.
What was your sign off moments ago? Wasn't we're all having golden shot? Come on. So
yeah, jokes aside.
That sounds more like Kent Brockman than me, to be honest with you.
Very similar.
So
Well,
weird,
I
I guess
am-
you're updated weird in the psychic loop that they're heading down to the surface.
Noted.
Alice looks at you, Zora, and says, "You should probably appoint somebody in charge of the ship while we're gone."
Oh, yeah, Lyco, you can keep
How you
nine
doing
and
this?
shit.
Somewhere
I'm
else in
saying
the
on my
ship,
brain because I
Lyko
don't realise
continues
that.
scrolling.
So you just brain calm and hoping Lyco hears that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's disconnected.
I mean, that's fair. Would
Yeah.
they have any idea
don't
that?
I
think
don't
so.
think I would have thought of it, to be honest.
I don't think you get a who's all on the call list. So
No, you don't get a group members.
Mhm, mhm.
Right. Now, what I was saying though is, Lyco would usually say, all right, Captain or something, okay, right. So I'm like, Lyco? Lyco. I'll send him a text message, he's probably sleeping. I'm sending him a text message saying he's in charge of the ship. We're away to X coordinates to pick up a package.
I will immediately reply to that with okay.
Why didn't you speak to his... He can't hear us, like...
like at all. Oh, Lyco? Marco! Lyco!
I like the idea that you're thinking that.
Yes, he is. um,
I think as you're screaming that
And,
into the void of your brain speak, you mentally hear a reply from Sindel saying, "Do you wish me to join?"
that really takes Zig back, but
yeah.
then also at the same time, he's both unsurprised and surprised at the same time.
Fair.
Unexpectedly unsurprised. That's
Mhm.
if you like,
I'd be like, no. I'm thinking
like I say out loud, like, are you gonna tell him no?
yes.
And then Zig waves his hands vaguely.
It's just a quick pickup mission. Don't know if you need to come.
Oh, I assumed he meant the brain comms.
No, I think he meant come on.
Oh, I'm so slow today.
Brain comms is how Sindel spoke to you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought he was asking permission to join the chat, like politely, you know.
And then I'd be like,
Asking for an invite. Yeah.
after I did a no thing, I would just be like, how could he hear us?
I mean,
Not in
Zig just
person,
shrugs.
Zig's in front of me. Like,
you guys
Like
can figure that one out, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad at least you did.
Sage
Lyco.
brain stuff.
I think Alice just kind of whispers into the room. Who's that?
is Alice in the brain speak?
She is, but
It
she's
should be.
speaking in the room with you guys since she's on the shuttle together.
All right,
And she
yeah.
doesn't want to speak in the brain speak with the voice she doesn't recognise.
That's
Cynthia.
Cynthia.
Okay. Who's that?
The guy we brought.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are we whispering?
Who knows how well bone sages can hear?
So he's a bone sage.
Not.
What's that?
Zig does mystical hand wave.
But I'd be very much me. Yeah. What are you done?
What do you indicate? Sorry, Zora? Like, how did you convey nothing or something? Like, what was the scene there? Because I only mostly heard Zig saying he does mystical hand waves. I didn't really piece together what you were doing.
I would just be like, how do I explain a bone sage and then when he done mystical based hand things, I'd just be like that.
She goes, okay. That's all she says, is just, okay. That's all I've got to work with, I guess. And kind of just leans back into the seat.
So, Space Adventures?
Of the fifth kind, and then jumps into the shuttle.
And Alice
Bum, bum.
Awesome kind.
pivots back round onto the pilot seat and says, "Where are we going?"
This place. I'll show the coordinates.
Oh, what's there?
Some package, probably a slave. Who knows?
Is that what we do
Wait,
now?
We're picking up a slave.
No, we don't do that. And no, it was just a joke. It's
It's a bit of a not
it's.
funny joke.
I've got to pick up something for
Admiral.
Q-Bob. What do you expect for Q-Bob?
Who's Q-Bob?
Who's Q-Bob? I guess I maybe know who Q-Bob is. I just haven't met.
Ah,
Your armor
Oh,
was
the right-
acquired from him, was it not?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, probably, but I don't think Zig would have asked where the armor came.
Didn't all of you meet Q-Bob
Oh,
when you
you
went
did.
down to the big warehouse?
I haven't met Q-Bob at all,
Not in
apart
Hanani?
from.
Where were you when they all
No,
went and they
'cause I
met
was in
Hamani? Remember, you went down to the basement?
I didn't. Oh no, I
Check
didn't speak to him. That's what it was.
So you have seen him, at least.
I have seen him.
Because I was going to say, I think everybody was in that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Horrible
I
I
Q-Bob.
forgot he was there, even though he was.
Siren and
switched.
Chandra, you're in for a treat if they ever speak to Q-Bob, that's for sure. Yeah. Horrible person he is.
Horrible, disgusting.
Yeah. But yes. So,
Yeah, you know, Q-Bob, that guy.
she goes, I'll take your word for it.
Sleazy, disgusting, horrible person, and quite frankly, I'm just going out to get some free money.
She goes,
That's
Okay.
not free.
Oh. Free if we're picking up a slave.
It's not. It's probably not a slave. Probably.
Hmm.
And if it is a slave, we'll set you shit free.
Okay.
Okay, good. Excitement intensifies. But yes.
It's gonna be another fucking cube.
It's going to be 2 cubes.
That's
He's
the case.
gonna make it
A
captain.
wee lady cube, and then making
Ah,
not even a lady friend. That'd be nice. That'd be
oh
adorable.
dear. Don't you assume the sexuality of Ivan?
Wait, what?
Don't know what
It's called
assembly ooze cubes sexual
called
preferences
fuck
are.
I
Ivan.
assumed assembly uses were like unisex.
It's best we
Well,
don't get into this.
Maybe it's
A
like
multifaceted
culture
conversation that we can get into
design.
later.
Right.
Or did you just make a bigger ooze by combining?
A bigger ooze. Well, anyway.
I
So,
have an extreme.
What would happen to their individual minds since we've established that they have them?
Oh, could you get 2 stations at the same time?
Amazing. Yes, they could speak Braille to one another.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you head to the coordinates. Alice obviously punches in the coordinates and shuttle departs. Yeah. Okay, while they're travelling down to the location, Lyko, what you up to on board?
Well, I said I was going to speak to Weird, so I probably will try to do that mentally and realize I can't.
Yeah.
Then I'll look up from my screen for a second, say, "Ha!" aloud to no one in particular, realizing that that's why they text me.
Mhm.
And Weird was still on board, right? You were still busy.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will go and seek you out. Because I can work while I walk with my comm.
Yeah. And depending on how you do this, you eventually find him in the briefing room with his physics models all generating in the big hologram in the middle of the room.
Hey, Weird.
Like a
I'm not even gonna ask about that.
trying
I
to
had
map dimensions and our ability to access them from various points,
okay.
and trying to figure out what will happen to them if this dimension is destroyed.
Oh, I think I can follow. So, Query was able to somehow survive the death of his universe, presumably because he was in a separate dimension connected to it. So
I have no idea about that actually. We should discuss that with him when
that
we have
is
him.
kind of what I was coming to talk about. I've been trying to figure out what MO's been up to if she's left the planet's surface, and she did contact me about a day after we went in, which is maybe a sign that she has. But I thought it would be best to, if we can do it securely, check up on Query's status.
Yes.
I don't want to risk doing it too openly, though.
That's probably wise.
I wonder if they're still in comms range. Don. And I will send a quick comm to Cap asking if they can check on Query's status with Nazma Click. I hope he gets it. I've sent this now.
Okay, I'm going to brain communicate with them because that is secure rather than sending electronic messages.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Yep. Probably best to avoid doing it at all if possible. That's why I came to you, actually. I can't do that anymore, probably because of the mess.
Because you might not be like her, yes.
Not physically, at least.
Well, it's a
Please
classic
don't go into the philosophy of this. I would much prefer not to think about it.
Okay, like her too.
Anyway, if they can check up on him, that'd be excellent.
It's interesting. You're effectively an inverse android.
How so?
But androids can refresh a different soul and consciousness into a single body.
Okay, fair.
You have a new body, maintaining the same consciousness and soul, presumably. I'm not entirely sure on the soul mechanics of.
I would like to think so. Yeah, it's a fair point. I suppose it perhaps didn't occur to Sindel that it might be distressing not to be reincarnated in a form made from my original parts. But
Unless you don't have a soul and you're just the sum total of inputs and outputs that Sindel has reformed from his knowledge of you, having been made of you.
that's a terrifying thought.
But we functionally wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, which is why it's a terrifying thought. Anyway, I'm going to just work on the assumption that I am my original self. Maybe I never was. Maybe the first time I woke up in the morgue, that was some entirely new entity that had nothing to do with the man I remember being. Who knows? I try not to dwell on it too much.
If it makes you feel better, by the time that you died the first time, you'd already replaced every atom in your body that you were born with. So you were never the same like her.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you find that comforting.
I don't find it this comforting.
That's a success.
I so anyway, this errand of mine where I was trying to work out if MO was on world, I have some numbers narrowed down about 5,000 ships that have traveled in and out in the last week. Now, here's my concern. She's off world. She must have known he was there. Query, that is, right? She's off world. I can't imagine that means anything good for him, which is,
Right.
hence.
Why do you assume that she knows he was there?
Well, she had Grinning Durwa working for her. Grinning Durwa had recently had someone he believed was you in his possession. If she heard about that, she would immediately know who that individual was.
Yes, but he was also picked up by a Vesk shuttle,
True.
and our capital ship, that is the correct word for it, is no longer in orbit around Akaton.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she hasn't. I'm just concerned,
Of course.
and I would like to be sure that he on plan. And even if he's not, I'm gonna keep on working through this and see if I can work out where the hell she's gone.
Yes.
Any suggestions?
Mm. I'm still not sure on the actual situation in terms of the quantities of MO.
You mean there could be multiple existing at any one time? That had occurred to me, but we've never.
Yes, otherwise she could be a Leica.
Well, I don't think she's Barai. She.
No, I'm not a regular Barai. I simply meant, an entity being reformed into a single body in the style of some ancient ship being repaired.
Yeah. If only there were a parable.
A reverse android. We've got a name for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The parable of the reverse android. There does seem to be a pattern of her dying and then later reappearing, and I don't know if there's any evidence of multiple MOs being around at once, but that's something worth looking into. We'll see what I can do in that front.
Yes, perhaps your old colleagues may have notes on her.
Yeah, they'll have something, but it'll probably be kind of sanitized because I wouldn't be shocked if she had some sort of access. Where are we on the CC situation? Is this still all building to that?
Oh, CC, yes, that's why I was doing this.
Now, is that
yeah.
Alex remembering, or is that weird remembering?
Weird.
Okay.
Because he's having more interesting thoughts off the back of it.
Yeah, what could this dimensional overlapping mean?
Yes. This is far more useful than finding CC. Yes. Well, I'm actually not necessarily sure how much it does help us. But can't make matters worse. Even if I can figure out how he contacted us contacted Zig in the null space chamber, that doesn't necessarily assist in us triangulating his position in the drift.
Have you tried contacting him again from the null space chamber for more information from him?
I think at this point as well, like, Sindel just like shuffled into the room like he wasn't really sure how he got here. Like he's just looking at like the door frame.
Sindel.
Oh, hello.
He kind of turns and goes, "Ah, good, you are both here." He looks back at the door frame.
Yes, we are.
Does Lyco have his original soul?
And then Sindel kind of like looks back at you weird. And he says, "Define original."
But the one that he had when you exploded out of him.
Like, he's doing that thing where like his eyes are like scanning the floor as if he's trying to think. And he goes, "It is difficult to say. What Lyco had before, he has again. But also new."
Okay.
And then he kind of like, as if he's still thinking of the answer, and he looks at you, Lyco, and just smiles, and looks back at you weird, and he says, "I am unsure if Lyco had a soul before." And then he gestures to himself as if, before I used bits of Lyco.
That's yeah. Well,
I would not concern myself with this. And just smiles again at both of you.
the capacity of Barai to have an afterlife has apparently been lacking. So that might be
We
good.
shall discuss this in private.
Okay.
Ken nods, like, seriously, right? Like a, Because he hasn't forgot that yous had a conversation long ago, perhaps on the falling apart space station Absalom, you know? That he's made an agreement once upon a time. And then he says, he's just looking at the model of the hologram thing as well. And he says, where is everybody else?
Outside of the ship.
Ah. And he just nods.
Which people in particular?
He shrugs.
Onto the planet's surface again for the time being. Captain wasn't really clear on why, but I assume it's important. He's left me in charge of the ship for the time being. I don't know if he said.
Yes,
I heard him shouting for you.
he said. And he taps the side of his head.
And I look at him for a second, and I think I obviously know, but I think Lyco would work that out pretty much instantly as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we've literally just been having a conversation about the physical properties of Lyco's new form and Zindeo's new form. So I think like after a second, I just go, okay, so you're enough like me that even though you've reassembled.
He waves his hand and goes,
body.
no, I am enough of you.
Ah.
Do you
Nods.
have like memories?
He looks at you, and he kind of narrows his eyes, and then he says, only what you shared with me before. Because, I mean, that's a hard question for him to answer given what Lyco and him have been through, given that they strolled through Lyco's memories. Yeah. But yeah, he says that.
Also, by the way, I'm having a red thing at the top flashing in and out
don't worry about
with an error message of some description on.
Well, worry about it if we need to roll.
Just giving it a quick refresh.
No problemos. So yeah, I think you can work out easily, especially given that Nazmekek always taps the side of his head when he's going to speak to you telepathically as well. It's not that big a leap at all for Lyco to work out all that. And yeah, I think Cinderella's just kind of like being present in the room, because he couldn't. He's obviously wandered the ship for a bit and he's found you guys. So, anything else in the scene?
I think I will leave Weird to his work, as I am not likely to be useful in assisting with it. So I will probably try and encourage Sindeo come with me.
And I shall message the captain to say, please check in on query, and ask McKicklick cautious of MO's presence.
You're going to brain speak that to the captain?
Yes.
Brain speech is such a valuable tool.
No problem, I guess. We'll swing by on the way back.
Appreciated.
Sindel just says, yes. Just in response to all of the brain speak.
Yes.
That's it. It's like, he's also involved. And then, like, you basically like indicate, yeah, let's go. So if you do that, Sindel will just, okay, just follow you with the ship. Where'd you head to?
I actually think initially I will head to the bridge, just because I'm sort of feeling as I'm temporarily in charge, I should be in the bridge.
Yeah.
And on the way, I'll sort of speak to him about, well, the sort of pressing issue of not so much the messy reincarnation, but like the Barai in general. I always say to him, you may or may not be aware, but your colleague, Ramasethu, nonetheless, informed me that you would be the best place to tell me more about the Barai and how they came to be. In fact, she indicated that might be your work.
Yes, she indicates many things beyond her station.
And no, but correct.
And then he kind of looks at you and smiles. And he says, "You wish to discuss?"
I would like to know more.
He stops walking in the corridor.
I stopped walking.
Yeah, so like he stops, you like take a step forward, realize you stopped, turn round, you're doing your nice dramatic corridor conversation moment, like in any good West Wing episode. And
I feel like we keep walking eternally in that case.
well, you've done your walk and talk so far. Now it's the dramatic reveal moment. And he says,
Oh yeah.
"I created the Barai."
Yep.
He stares
That
at
follows.
you. He nods. "You are Barai."
Hence my interest.
And then he looks at you, and then looks at himself and goes, "I am Barai."
Oh.
And he kind of just like stares at you, like he doesn't understand what the O implies.
Everything I know about mankind suggests we're almost a sort of halfway station between true undead and actual living beings. I
Yes.
still eat and breathe. Can't say I noticed you having normal biological functions.
He smiles. And he says, "I am Barai. I was undead."
You are now as a result of your resurrection.
Via you.
See.
He kind of nods. You
Is that
and the Barai are our next step back.
you're trying to reclaim? Of course.
He smiles.
We're not
'Cause you're
halfway
getting it.
between the living and the dead. We're halfway between the dead and the living. You're working your way back towards becoming truly living beings.
He smiles.
Of course. So we were created in order. That's what confuses me, I guess. Most of us just seem to turn up with little or no connection, at least not directly to Eox. Most of us go to Eox because that's a place we can, fit in a little better. But it was never for me. But I'm a classic example of Barai experience. I encountered a necromancer. It went south. I woke up.
You
Gestures.
were touched by death, and thus brought closer to us.
So how? You created us, but and then I emerged completely independent of you.
Yeah, he thinks for a second, and he looks at you, and he says, You like to solve problems, mysteries, yes.
Yeah.
And You asked the ship to help. Yes.
Of course.
And then he like lifts your arm up that's got your comm on it. And like he just taps your comm and it brings up like your data feed from like the 500,000 to the 5,000. And goes, you use this to find. I use this. And he holds up like a hand that just starts glowing with like green spiraling and black energy.
So we're a sample.
You are the experiment.
Could be magic out there, and it just sort of works. its
When the
way.
conditions happen, the magic takes effect.
There are specific conditions, which is why it only happens rarely.
Yes.
What about... There are some downsides to my condition. I don't mind having to deal with the messy business of being alive. If anything, I think you can understand when I say I'm quite eager for it. But
He smiles.
there are some things that true undead gain the benefit of that are envied by most Barai. We seem to expire after a few centuries, which is a long life for a mortal, but then when we die, we seem to die. So many of us have sought ways
He leans
around
in,
that.
right, to like almost impose into the way you're speaking this. You already died. The Barai is an extension.
Yeah,
He nods. And you can tell like the tone is that he disagrees with how you were seeing it. Because you're like, oh yeah, that's a bit sucky that we die eventually anyway. And undead generally don't. But I think his counterpoint to that is, no, you already died, so you're done. So this is extra.
yeah. Oh no,
Mhm. Yeah, that's like the implication he's given. He doesn't necessarily
look at it.
get it the same way you do.
Look at it this way: many mortals have a afterlife from which it's claimed by individuals who have been resurrected magically and who encountered higher being can be an eternal continuation of consciousness after death. As far as anyone knows, suppose it's our kind now, simply end. Now, that's not such a bad thing. There's no, you can't say anything negative about just stopping being because it's nothing, but
He
it's hard
grimaces
not to
at that, like, you know, he understands what you're saying, but he clearly doesn't agree.
if there's a possibility of continuation of consciousness eternally out there, it's very frustrating to be one of the beings that can't access it.
You wish not to cease.
I go back and forth on that, but I'd like to have the option.
He looks you up and down, like he has to reassess all of you. And he says, when you decide, come to me.
Okay.
Ken
I
narrows his
appreciate-
eyes, and he's like nodding as if, you know, knowing what you want's a good thing, you know? The look of determination.
I appreciate you telling me all this.
It is yours to know now.
I have one question that's more about you than about me, but
He laughs.
okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. This halfway house that we are, clearly you want to move beyond. So, what's the next step, and how do you achieve it?
And he looks at you and he smiles and he says, I am back now to do this very thing. Narrows his eyes and looks at you determinedly again. He says, the others do not understand, nor all share my vision for us. He nods and he just says, Tech Delanus. He thinks like you, values like you.
He wants to continue his undeath eternally.
Yes.
Why is he aligned with the Vesk?
I think Sindel just gives you a look like, eh? Like he just kind of takes his head back a little bit and cocks it to the side and then says, Tech Delanus has allied with the Viscarium.
When we spoke to Ramesek after fighting about this,
2 seconds.
focus
Nico,
on their might.
you're having you making out with your mic there, Nico? Good, okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Right, say that again, Lyko.
Yeah, so when we first spoke to she felt it was pressing that you be brought back because she felt it was necessary to have someone.
Yes, I am the best. He just smiles.
Part of the concern about Tectalanus was born from the fact that he seems to have aligned himself with. I do wonder now, in retrospect, if this is wise to speak about on this ship. But
I think like Sindel looks around suspiciously at that, as if, are there people listening? Like,
but one of the most prominent members in the Viscarium, or presently in the Pact Worlds of the Viscarium, the Mogesh,
yes,
with whom we're technically currently working.
I have met him.
See,
Small.
huh. But he has some sort of alliance with Tectalanus. I don't know what.
I shall find this out.
Okay.
Nods.
Right. When they return, I think it's important we move quickly.
Do you have any more questions?
For now, the only question I have is, once we are moving, where are we going?
He kind of like narrows his eyes and says, we shall see. For now, I must ask. He nods. He like motions for you to take a step back.
I do.
Yeah, and he vanishes.
Yep. Yep.
Like a pop in the air.
That works. That's. Yeah, don't know why I didn't see that one coming. And mutter to myself as I walk off to the bridge, shaking my head and opening my comm again.
Yep. Oh dear.
Quickly firing a message off to Weird that Sindel is no longer on board.
Okay. I don't. Is that comforting or concerning?
The ellipsis appear for a few seconds.
You could just voice comm him, right? The ship does have voice comms.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
that's not as funny.
Text to speech.
And,
Ellipsis from Lyko.
And yeah, shortly thereafter, a response saying, "Well, he did it intentionally." So
It's the best you're gonna get, really, isn't it?
I mean, is it a good thing? Fuck knows. But it certainly was on purpose. So there's that.
Mm.
I don't find the deliberate actions of a bonus age more comforting than the accidental actions of a bonus age.
I mean,
Fair.
yeah, no, I sort of with them on that.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else in that scene, or am I switching over to the others?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I'll get to the bridge, and that'll be me.
Yep. Anything you want to do on the bridge though before we cut away from you, or?
I'll still be poured over the data.
Okay. Okay. I think Finn will just be standing there holographically, just being present if needed as well, for the sake of the shot.
Very polite.
Yeah. He is a pretty polite guy, and then we switch over to the bumpy descent of the shuttle.
Yes, the slave traders
Mm-hmm.
of Akaton.
Yup. And as you descend through Akaton, you hit it, and it's like this is up near the let me just bring it back up. I'll bring up the map, the Akatonian planet map. Let me just.
On the planet of
Oh fuck!
Akaton.
Look at that spelling.
Okay. Okay. So, is there somewhere like north of the Golden Bay? Essentially, which is way up here. And Booster City is where CC's little hideout was. FYI. So yeah. Also, my browser is conked out on me because of course it has, because it's Chrome Canary. 2 wee seconds, let me just relaunch this. And we'll see if it all works magically. But yes, so use a head up that direction. You can see the wonderful ice caps at the top as well, which is very nice. And you start descending into what looks like just like a mass storage facility. That seems to be like, I guess like a mini fortress, right? It just looks like one of the few secure storage places. Like a shipping yard, I guess you could say. As you descend, and then Alice is obviously in like a holding pattern above the place, and she's like, "Do we have landing permission, or what?"
I should we know we're going to arrive? I get him a cob.
She just like gestures to the comm on the shuttle and is like, "Be my guest."
Press button.
Okay, and then you get the equivalent of an NPC replying to you saying, you know, this is a storage facility YB Alpha.
Here on a delivery mission from Cuba. Should
And
we expect it?
There's just some static in the form of ellipsis, and they reply, "What's your clearance code?"
I'll look at the details that Cuba gave me.
Yeah, you can transmit it over if you want. Yeah. There we go. Bay 4.
Okay.
Yep. Alice just looks at you and rolls her eyes, and yes, they scream. And head over to Bay 4, and it's just like big shipping containers, it seems. So it's nothing special. You've chased Ivan around your cargo bay with one before. You know, simple things. The good old days. And yeah, Alice lands the shuttle and goes, "Okie dokie, we're down."
Well, I can come off if you want. Hopefully, this should just be a quick pick up.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yep.
Perhaps actually somebody stays back and keeps edging up.
Alice just goes.
I'll stay back.
Alice looks at the group and goes, "No, we're all going, because this is how we'll lose him for a week."
But then we all
Good
get lost.
point.
And she shrugs. "At least we'll be lost together, Captain."
Aww. So cute. Fine. Let's go.
Just smiles at you, Zig, when the captain agrees to that, and then heads out the door after you.
Zig smiles and follows.
So Zora, you go first, then Alice, then Zig. And yeah, you can just navigate your way to your shipping container if you want. Some of the NPC people come over and attend you. I ask for a container number and such. You can give them that. And then they say, is your transport outfitted with temperature control and environmental interface? And they kind of they're kind of looking up and down just the drop ship that looks like it's a piece of military tech.
Why is that always a question?
What do you mean, why is that always a question? Because sometimes people don't want to transport stuff in like the freezing vacuum of space, maybe.
Have air conditioning.
You're just saying that too.
So that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, like, you're asking if I've got air
So
conditioning.
essentially, this container will obviously be running off of the facility's power, right? To maintain whatever environment's required inside for the contents.
Sure, there's a plug in the ship.
Alice looks to you, Zig, when he's saying this and just kind of
I told you it was
shrugs.
going to be another one.
Is there a plug in the ship?
Zig shrugging as well, kind of like looking. Admiral.
I'm sure there's a plug on our main ship.
The guy just says, okay, sign here. And he holds up his holographic data pad.
Site.
Okay. He says, well, there you go. And it's just like the access key to release the clamps on the storage container. As it's slowly being drawn out by a giant robotic arm, obviously, out of the big pile of them. Yep, and it's just sat next to the shuttle by the big robotic arm.
Okay.
The big kathunk. It's probably about the same size as the shuttle. Like, the shuttle would have to maybe dock onto the top of it and lift it that way.
Right. So, guess we get going. Was in business. Give him a salute.
Oh, he's already walked off. As soon as you'd signed and he handed you the key that releases it, he's left. Yeah.
Rude. Right.
He's got a dockyard to run.
Let's take this thing away and then crack it open and see what's. There's probably sleeves in this crate.
So what's your plan, right? Because currently you're on planet. You have a crate that you don't know what the contents are, and to get it onto your ship, you're going to need to fly it up, release it, so it's free floating, and then scoop it up with your shuttle bay, the one that's empty. Because you're going to need to move the remains of the elf fighter out the way.
Sneak a peek first before we take it, because we could maybe just get away with leaving the container here.
Yeah, let's take a peek. So, that was the plan anyway, the whole time. Let's take a peek.
Okay. So, as you approach the interface controls for the container, your comm starts going. It's an incoming call request.
Oh, lovely. I'll accept.
And it's wonderful Bob's face. He goes, marvelous.
Oh,
You
lovely.
you have returned from the door.
Yep. Bit longer than expected, apparently.
Yes. Most unfortunate business that.
So I'm picking up a container.
Yes.
Could have told me it was this big.
I think the details were transferred. Did you not review them?
I mean, never mind.
Define review.
I will require your account details if you wish the transfer.
Okay. Some account details.
Yeah, and he transfers the initial promised money.
Lovely. So nothing in this container's gonna die in the vacuum of space, is it?
He kind of like looks a bit on the holographic communication and kind of goes, most things die in the vacuum of space.
Fair.
Big smugly smug.
Yeah, he just smugs. It's a verb now. He smugs.
Nothing,
Glows.
nothing living that would die within vacuum of space.
How is that narrowing it down?
I think
Right,
Bob
well,
looked confused next that you can see like he's patting himself with his handkerchief. The sweat kind of beads off his forehead and rolling down his cheek. He says, the job didn't specify that you were going to be asking so many questions about,
I just want your cargo to be intact.
as do I and my client.
Lovely. What client would that be?
Discreet. He chuckles to
Brilliant.
himself.
Fair enough. I mean, I did ask.
Yes. Swiftly now, if you would.
Give me a nod. Hang up.
Yeah.
That's all about this crate.
I don't think it's too uncommon to check your thing, make sure everything's there before you leave the place.
Yeah, sure. We'll call that.
Okay. So you interface with the shipping containers like buttons, I guess, and it brings up the big holographic interface panel, and it says, "Do you wish to breach quarantine protocol?"
Yes.
If we get some sort of like
See, if this is the bio
hollow virus or something,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fucking.
Bioweapon cube or its query. Those are my bets.
Yes.
Okay.
The quarantines.
You need to essentially thumb stamp onto this so your identity is recorded because you broke quarantine.
I'll give a. To be my thumb.
I mean, it needs to be somebody's thumb that's agreeing to breach quarantine. It needs a stamp to say who signed to breach it, yeah.
How do we get a thumb?
Alice hides her
Diarrhea is one
thumbs
I've
in
been
her
carrying.
fists. Like, she just does that thing where she like tucks them into her hands and puts her hands behind her back. Looks at Zig.
Zig rolls his eyes and wanders over and
Ice cream.
just smooshes his thumb onto the scanner.
It's at least a less known thumb.
That is true. Zig isn't a space celebrity, Zora is a space celebrity. Yeah.
That'll
Okay.
work. That's fine.
So, yeah. It comes up like with your details and such. A picture of Zig's face the last time he got an ID shot taken. And then, yeah, it then comes up and cargo container controls, doorway locked, and it's got a button to press to unlock.
Push, push.
Okay, it switches to unlock. You hear the ka-thunk. Alice takes a step back. She looks like she's got her, fingers ready to pull out a gun from somewhere. And
I better get ready to mind thrust something horrible.
the doors swing open, assuming Zora's gonna help them. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a bunch of fuzzy teddy bears. Another delicacy somewhere.
Nope. There's a bright light that shines.
Ah, lovely. Angel.
And as the the light dissipates, and inside you see sitting on what looks like a built-in furniture with like a holo display on the wall. You can hear like the blaring from the TV screen now, and the Arctic air smell hits your nostrils,
Oh god.
and you just see Edgar smiling. He stands up, and he
this.
like kind of like goes, Zora de Aura de Abyss, holy fuck. And he swaggers forward and just like grabs your hand and starts shaking it violently, and looks at everything and goes, "Are we there already?"
Never mind, just go to the fucking show.
I think that's where we end it. That's a nice place to put a stop to that.
Why was he the one known character I didn't guess? Damn
I
it.
was genuinely shocked.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought about it for a moment.
I was
and then
like,
for some reason dismissed
oh, it might be this person, this person, this person. Edgar was the one person I didn't think of.
So yeah, do you remember where the package is supposed to be going?
No.
Zora. That was mostly for Zora since it was Zora's scene.
Triaxis?
Yeah. Hell yeah. So, what would you like to call this session? I'll put in my Are We There Already? You are Barai.
Reverse Android? I'd type, but I have crisp hands.
I did like Reverse Android as well, that was good.
Well, that's in Roko, that's the wrong place.
That's the wrong place.
You Barai me Jane?
Okay, what's the thoughts, gang? Let's get them down.
Right, BRB 1 sec.
Do the votes and such. I'll see what we get. I nearly read title suggestion as a title suggestion.
Yeah, I'm going with that, right? 'Cause
anything else? What about weird? Any suggestions for names, buddy? Assuming you're still with us. Don't know if you are. Or BRBing.
it's lost his mic mute switch.
We did say BRB, that was all.
Still burnt.
Yeah. Anything else, suggestion-wise? How about yourself, Zig? Where are you voting?
I think. Also don't want I like everything. Pardon me. Just. I'm gonna vote for myself.
Okay.
Oh, I have returned.
Welcome
I
back.
actually, you've inspired me. I think I'm gonna.
You've muted yourself.
I suggest a slight remix on that. But I honestly, I'm not sure what I would even vote for. And so it looks like human trafficking is today's champion.
Nope, we're still waiting because I quite like Inhuman Trafficking.
I quite like Inhuman Trafficking.
I've got Alex as well to join us in the voting if he does return in a reasonable time frame.
I'll vote for me and I'll vote.
Okay. Where are you voting, Colin?
As I say, I'm ambivalent. They're both good, but one of them was mine.
I'm unvoting yours.
I'm very fond of Callum, but equally, I'm very fond of myself. So, swings and roundabouts.
Now I pose this.
Okay, okay. I'm excited
Uh-oh.
to see this
Like,
new suggestion.
The things that were getting trafficked weren't inhuman.
Okay.
They were posing as human, hence the human question mark. Trafficking.
Okay. Okay. I see.
That's
What
all.
about?
Deep. I like it.
No, that doesn't work. I was gonna have N, like apostrophe, not apostrophe. Dash. I meant.
Okay.
Fuck, my brain doesn't work.
Okay. Like a
Human?
hyphen.
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 Yes,
Is that what I mean?
Yes, a dash is a
I'm
hyphen.
so
Yes.
fucking dumb. Sorry. Yes. To emphasize that in human, in the sense that
Yeah.
we had someone who is in a human body that is not originally their own. But the longer I spend explaining the joke I was going to make, the worse it sounds. So I'm not going to make it now. It's a shame his name's not Christian.
I know. It'd have been so good.
Born
Anyone
this
is.
way is- I like that.
Mhm.
Born identity. What?
Mhm.
Why?
I mean, I feel like it probably works in some context.
It does,
at some
because like
point.
you've got the fact that people were reborn, and then you've also
It's
got
a new Robert Ludlum book starring Lady Gaga.
you've got the identity being the fact that you were trying to hunt down ships as well. Narrowing the search. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure during this game as well, there's been some fucking secret agent that's lost his memories or some shit. That's a Born Identity, right? That's the story.
Sure,
right?
close enough.
Something like that.
What about yourself, Alex? What do you think? Names? Any suggestions for us, or any votes to be had? What's the thoughts?
Wow, something.
Oh dear. Okay, so besides these
And
lyrics,
this is why this bit doesn't get streamed.
we've also got what's in the box. A suggestion from Siren.
That's actually quite good. What's in the box?
Oh,
Good.
what's in the box is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, right, okay, no. If I'm not allowed to make suggestions in your Wednesday game, no one's allowed to make suggestions in your Monday game.
Yeah, it's just a special
That's
rule
fair
for
ruling.
you. It's just a special rule for
that
you.
makes sense. You know what? I'll suggest what's. Oh, no, you've already done it.
Mm-hmm. What's in the box?
I'm
But
going to
no one
vote
asked
for what's
how
in the
is
box.
How is the box? Yeah. How's in the box? Yeah, I'll vote for that too. Why not?
Or Man in the Box. That's a great song.
So we have a three-way. Oh no! What's in the box? Oh no! No, it's back to three-way. It's up. It's down.
What's happening here, Alex?
It's up.
Why is the
Just
box?
to make come on explode.
I mean, also, I guess there's been another vote
Oh
for
my
Siren.
God! It's a runaway winner with
Why
as
is the
many
box?
votes as the competition combined.
Where is the box? I think what's in the box is the winner. I'm surprised we haven't used
Whence
it before.
cometh the box?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The box is no. Okay. We've got the title. We're good. We got it. We did it. What's in the box? Well done, Siren. Thanks for joining us and participating in such a way. Look at you. You're immortalized now.
I am now also incredibly jealous that you get this power and I do.
But you.
Just like that.
Mhm. I'm going to swiftly move on to goals. So, what happened with goals? Talk us through them, folks. What goals happened?
Not mine. Do you uncover how your electrical encephalon came to be? That come
No,
up
but
in that
I
craziness?
made the beginnings of
Made a lot of
some
progress, yeah.
Sent a message to say that, so cybernetics business still isn't done. Void Egg still not done.
I spoke with the crew on the Kiev.
Again, you're
Nope.
for nah, we've not done anything.
We've done
yeah,
so
it
much,
felt like
but
an
nothing
important
happened.
session.
Yes, I think a lot of very important things did
Yeah.
happen this week. I just don't think any of them were aligned with the goals you had set. So, speaking of, are we realigning the current goals that are set?
Not in the slightest.
And of course, Siren, you're very welcome.
Oh,
Okay, so let's go through this list. So Zora, you're keeping. Zora, you're going to keep discover what happened to CC.
yes.
Okay, not successfully deliver the box to Triaxis.
But we could discover what happened to CC next session.
Okay, but the mystery box could be a speedboat.
Yeah.
Did we want to actually deliver?
You know how much we wanted a boat.
We could just vet them. Is that going to like that? They'd probably survive as well.
And it would probably be considered space monster racist.
I mean,
Yeah, poor Edgar.
It's a space monster.
Some of our
Yeah,
best
monster
friends
as
are
well.
space monsters.
Wasn't my boyfriend's a
Can I
space monster?
was thinking maybe push back the general goal, speak to Kivalari Kroon versus in favour of that.
Sure.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like it would definitely be a me, even though it's a general one. So, and I will. Is Nico currently writing in it?
Is that what you're saying? Put a deliver Edgar thing?
Yeah.
Cool. No.
At least you can be fairly confident it's not the slave trade.
Hmm.
Which with Bob I was not at all confident about.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where that was
All I'm
going.
saying is the reason he's called Q Bob, you know?
I was expecting it to be something awful, to be honest, heinous. Especially when it was like environmental controls in the box. I was
I
like,
was expecting it to be E-Bomb's world.
So it's not a.
Get it? 'Cause something awful.
It's definitely not something awful at all. Not with Edgar, the Rainbow Shadow Dread monster, right?
yeah, I mean, it's 100% still awful.
Yeah, he's sitting in there having a wee spoke, though. I mean, that's a lot less bad than it could have been.
True. Right, so if you're keeping your discover what happened to CC, then like are you keeping your discover how the electroencephalon came to be?
I think I am.
Okay, it's fine.
Because he might pop back in next session, you know? It might be nearer than it seems.
Also, until the link's re-established, he's part of the psychic link that some of them have. So
that's true.
That is somehow going to be useful, maybe. Let's just hope nobody attacks him and you just feel the pain of whatever is brave enough to attack him. Weird. Your goal. We keeping it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm almost done.
Yep. Almost there. What was he watching on his TV in there? Probably some random rerun of,
anime.
Yeah, it'll be anime. Probably, yeah. I don't know what Akaton has for media, but it's probably not great. So it was probably just the equivalent of DVDs. Yep. Okay. Well, it's probably, yeah, Space Akira. That's what he was watching. That'll do. There we go. There's something I can say. Right. Zig. You keeping your goal?
Yeah!
I don't know if that was just excitement for your name being called, or if that was the fact that you want to
Yes.
keep your goal.
And yes.
Okay, so we're keeping Acquire the Void Egg as a goal. Okay.
I want it. I want all the eggs to become the most powerful. Syndial's inspired me.
Good. He's your new mentor figure, is that right? Screw the Radiant Supreme, we'll just study under Syndial.
Well,
fair.
I've not seen the Radiant Supreme explode a bunch of people at once, so...
Kinda have.
You've seen him go glowed.
Oh yeah, but it was more...
That was more like
as
fire
opposed to-
immolation than just using
Yeah.
bone shrapnel. Yeah.
See, bone shrapnel's far more appealing.
Okay. This is why when you originally designed Zig, you were going to have the explode head power, I think.
Yes, that's right.
Which is a great named move. Okay. Alright, so we still have Speak with Demogesh on Situation on Octurne. Are we still doing that, folks? Wow.
Cap.
Yeah, Zora.
I mean, why not? I mean, yeah.
You tell me. You're the one that needs to go do it. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. Remove Tectalanus as Demolgash's ally.
Uh-huh. So
Feel-
that's-
I feel like Lyko put a lot of the pieces in place this session for
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Tectalanus definitely has no idea what's coming his way. And gain useful MO info.
You may or may not be somewhere.
But are
I
we
mean, we're
pursuing
starting
this?
to work.
If you want to keep it, then we'll keep it. If not, we'll replace it with something else.
I'm in favor of keeping it for now. If you guys feel like after next session it's going nowhere, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
And ensure Weird removes the Vesk safeguard protocols.
I should probably remember that's a thing.
Maybe if you kept the goals page open within the session, and then constantly look back at it to see what should I do next.
If it's open the whole session, but I just never even looked at it.
Okay, so we're halfway
I think
there.
I'm actually going to start doing that.
This is something Scott does in like the Friday game, and it is useful. Like he constantly goes,
I'm
okay,
I'm
what am
gonna
I
do
going to
that
do?
from now.
So are we keeping that one?
I mean, yeah, why not? I can. That's something I could squeeze in a situation. Yeah.
It's been here for like last
Just
maybe
mention it.
8 sessions. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we've not been on the ship, right, for a couple of sessions. Probably could have done it this session, but I forgot.
It's okay. You're just not one of those active captains. That's all. You're just very much a passive captain. It's okay. We know. Okay, if that's the goals done then, nothing new completed yet, but definitely a bunch of progress made, and at least a new one on the roster, which is deliver Edgar to Triaxis. Yeah, interesting to see where that goes.
Triaxis, presumably. Sorry.
No, it's because things are that straightforward in this game, Colin.
It goes back 2 or 3 years. In the game, presumably.
But still missing that week somehow. Okay, sure, that's done. Let's do wrap up chat now. I think that's a good thing to move on to because goals are done. We can move on. So wrap up chat time. Do you want to start us off, Lyko?
Yes, I do. So there. Yeah, so that was nice. We had an explosive exit from Lyko last time, and similarly explosive return this time. So how fun. We seem to have dealt with the problem of grinning Durwa rather permanently. Yay! I did like that Weird, the one guy who actually has real beef with him, right? Clearly he had beef with us, but the one guy who has real beef with him of some sort, I mean, maybe not too bad, but like, you're the only one who has a serious motive to dislike the guy, other than he's an asshole. And you're the one who was like, that was a bit much when he got like exploded from the inside. And I thought that really sort of reinforced the basic decency of Weird, even though he does sometimes look at people like they're fleshy meat sacks. So that was nice. That was touching. I thought that was a good little moment.
Well, maybe he's going to just transfer that beef to you now, since you have bits of Grinning Durwa.
I mean, yeah, that would certainly be the Sindale approach.
Yeah.
We got some good plot progression there. Lyko was starting to connect some dots on his virtual conspiracy board. And yeah, like we had a nice return, which would be fun, I think, for Zig. The captain actually like went about doing a thing with relative promptness. Did it. We've still got to get the guy to Triaxis, but that was nice.
Yeah.
There was a lot less fucking about than there sometimes is.
Yeah.
And I applaud that. And we, it's not like it wasn't a talky session. We did a fair bit of chatting. It was nice getting to interact a bit with Weird in a sort of work capacity where we're both kind of doing our thing.
Yeah, your actual roles in the ship as
Yes, that was definitely a fun thing for me, as you said during the session. Like, this was the most I have felt like I've actually been doing my new role.
As head of security, yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice when your character gets to do your character's shtick. I know I talk about that quite frequently, but when you make a character with a sort of idea in mind and you get to embody that idea, that's kind of the fun a lot of the time.
Definitely.
Plus, it's always just interesting having these little in-universe conversations with what are a very weird cast of characters, no pun intended. So yeah, I had very much a good time, and I look forward to seeing where this all goes next time.
Same.
I think that was under 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. We got this. Weird?
I like the bit where Grinning Devil exploded and then Lyco came back.
Yeah, that was a good bit.
Unfortunately, I couldn't line Emma O up in that crosshair.
Nor Q-Bob, sadly.
Yeah, that might have undermined the whole him being an ethical lad. It was an interesting concept. Q-Bob, I struggle to hate him on anything more than a visceral level.
Yeah. It's a good level to be on, though, I think.
Yeah. I enjoyed getting to Technobabble.
Oh, that was always fun. Me and you talking about stuff not even we understand. It's great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
That is what we are here for.
Yeah, but I think it is nice to try and wrap our heads around the in-game meta science or fucking hyper science or whatever you want to call it, right? That is kind of fun. The Technobabble, as it would be called in other franchises.
Also, getting to partake in the Lyco weird philosophy corner, despite Lyco's best attempts, is always enjoyed.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was fun.
Leaning into that android lack of social awareness. Love that.
I love reverse android as a new philosophy though, as well.
Yes,
it's like you and MO are both reverse androids. It seems. I just like that concept. It's good.
Yes, and I like the continued mirror image of the two characters.
It's good.
Indeed.
Yeah. Zig getting very upset about slavery.
He's a good kid.
Very cute. Yeah, but then he's all like, yeah, but look at the bone shrapnel and the radiation. And it's an interesting set of priorities he's got. Yeah.
Morality and utility. 2 files Weird has. Yeah.
It's interesting because like Weird has almost like this philosopher king role.
But that's what we designed, like way back at the start, right? With Tempered Pilgrim, wasn't it, Alex? Like that's what the kind of the original design of him was.
Yeah.
Just kind of cool.
Wandering philosopher / mechanic genius.
The slow apotheosis. Yeah.
Yes, I'm glad that he's hit that point effectively.
It's good. It's also quite a nice trope as, the engineer of the ship that you would then go and just, while they're fixing stuff, you would just talk shit to, and then you realise you're in, several existential conversations at once with them, just through small talk. Yeah, I can see that on the TV show that we get, obviously, when Netflix signs us up to our 5-season deal.
Please. I think that's everything for me for now.
Yeah, good. Zig.
I very much like Weird describing Zig as treasure. That was lovely.
Oh yeah,
that touched me. That's it. That's all I liked in the session. The rest of it was garbage.
The campaign.
So Zig is the narcissist of the campaign. Okay, yep.
Yes, that's it. Someone's got to fill the role. No, I felt really sad for Alice because it wasn't her fault that she got left again.
It was like
for
a week, and we did our best. It was like, oh, you'll always be in contact with us. It'll be fine this time. We won't leave you. Kablam! 7.5 days later, man, I just feel bad for her. I feel bad.
Our
for
fault.
her. Not my fault. I didn't know what was going on. I was in an all space chamber. Yeah, it was just I loved it all. There were so many good moments. It was nice to have like what seemed to be a very productive. Like we did a lot of things, but we also did a lot of like chatting amongst ourselves. Um, Getting some character moments was nice to see. Lyko unexplode. And yeah, like bone shrapnel.
Bone shrapnel.
Bone shrapnel. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it says more about me or Zig or no, I don't know. But
I quite liked the conversation you and Sindel had as well. I think that was quite fun.
yeah, that was interesting. I think it was nice for Zig to kind of sit and try and actually work out what he values and what he views as like strength and power and things like that. Because again, I don't think he knows. I think he's got an idea of like, well, strength is, the captain's strong. He jump jets away and, you know, Vesk punches you.
Okay. Yeah.
And weird is powerful because he's weird and he's amazing at everything.
Weird
And
Because
then-
he's the galaxy brain meme.
And all the cannons.
then-
Mostly all the cannons taped to him.
Mostly the cannons, yes. And he could probably throw anything as far as he wants. And then, Lyko's strong because he's, got the kind of streetwiseness and he can shoot things from really far away and he's got cool bone arms.
And death
Yes,
hasn't quite stuck to him yet.
I am the edgiest character, you're right.
Yes. And even Alice. Alice is just super strong. And the Queen is surrounded by all these strong, powerful characters who are, very strong and powerful, not only like physically and whatever, but they're also like really strong personality characters as well, which is so to be called strong by this thing that literally just exploded a bunch of people in front of him is kind of like weird for Zig, I think.
Yeah. No, it's good. And then his attempts at trying to explain the detailed differences between power and powerful and why. It's good.
Yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. Just anytime you looked like you were trying to get it, you would just smile like, yay!
You got it. Like, no, I don't got it. But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, it's already been mentioned, but
there is
when you
parallels
go off
between
about techno nonsense is just amazing.
Oh, do you mean oh, you did say Alex. I thought you said Alice for a second.
I did say Alex.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. My brain's melting. Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is I don't know if Colin or Lyko has worked out any similarities between Zig and Sindel yet, but there are.
They're both
adorable
awkward.
and yeah, awkward.
I have to think about that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We'll see how that works out. I like that. But yes, last but not least, Zora. Assuming Zig is complete.
Zig will never be complete, but
wow,
he is finished.
Okay.
I did one Ground Durwa.
You did.
I mean, I knew it was coming.
Mhm.
Like, I genuinely knew it was coming. I was like, even before I stepped through the portal, right? I was like, step through the portal. There's gonna be loads of armed people there, and Cindy's gonna kill everybody. And I was right.
And you
Seems
could
to be right.
you could argue that he needed parts.
True. I mean, he was a bit of a sacrifice, and how does it feel to be part Grin and Durwa now? Lyko?
Feels about the same.
I feel like my smiley now. No?
No, not really.
Like a deep chuckle settled within.
To be fair, I'm probably only a very small percentage.
Yeah, like, yeah. Same level of like salt content or something. Yeah, it was fun to see Edgar as well.
Yeah. He's not been in it for a while.
Can't remember what his race is called, but I should have learned what they were.
What, Edgar's?
Yeah.
Have you learned what his race is?
I think we did. We not learned
Yeah.
that they were bizarre.
I know what he
things
is,
from
but
what-
I don't know if they got a
they
name.
were worshipped on some planet ages ago and are spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did learn that.
It's been a long time, Ryan. What's
Yeah.
this? The 800th session?
8
or
million,
something?
yeah. Session
Yeah.
8 million. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's probably do know what his species is. Which is Rainbow Shadow Demon, right?
Rainbow Shadow Demon.
Yeah.
Was that this session? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see. There was a lot, man. There was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good to. The physics technobabble was pretty hilarious.
I definitely enjoyed that. That was fun. I don't know what I said in response to Alex's questions, but I definitely feel like I answered his questions.
It was good to see Lyco doing some of the investigatory stuff. Sish?
That's good. Yeah.
Land.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
better.
I also meant
Yeah,
to
okay.
say that I enjoyed the red background.
Thank you. Thank
Yes, and you.
you.
Oh, yes, he's a joy.
So, isn't he? Isn't he
Oh.
just?
Surprisingly, one of the easier characters to work with.
Yeah, you
It's
think
not.
so?
He still is.
I think until you ask him a specific question, he's really easy to work with.
Yeah.
The more specific you get, the less on the point he can be, I think.
The more specific you get, more likely you are to get a yes.
Like, Cynthia's fairly straightforward. I don't think he's ever really, like... I think, obviously, Lyco's had the most interactions with Cynthia throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I try to avoid it.
But yeah, it's probably been a year since we've seen him. You know that? That's terrifying to think.
Yeah, that is.
Like...
Well, it can't. No, it can't be.
we could find out, right? So the last time we seen Sindel would have been on the station, right?
I mean, yeah, no, it probably is then.
So-
Yeah.
that would have been before Sin is side up, so it'd be Adrift. You came for me, Adrift. So, you know, 22nd of July 2019 was the Adrift one, and Choose was on the 24th of June on 2019.
So nearly 2 years.
Nearly 2 years since we've
Oh my
seen
God.
Sindel in this game. Wow.
What?
Hopefully he felt the same, because if I have not RP'd him for that long, hopefully he felt the same. Because I know technically we had him in Lyco's brain vision on the, you know.
True, yeah.
But yeah, that's been a while since Sindale's been back in the flesh. Yeah. Oofed. That's crazy. But then it reminds us how long this game has existed for. Yeah. Okay, nice. Sorry, anything else there, Zora?
No.
Perfect. And thank you for that additional zig. Thank you all for playing. Thank you to Siren and Chandra who decided to join us for the whole game. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We do have the rest of it on YouTube somewhere, but I don't know if you... That's a whole thing. There is a Story So Far episode that might catch you up on some of it. It's somewhere in the past, but that only goes so far, because I think we've RP'd as much since. Since that was, 42.5 that session was.
That was February 2020.
It's been a year since.
Before time.
Oof, that's mad. Look at that. So much content. So goddamn
So
much.
weird.
Yeah. But yes,
To
hopefully,
YouTube!
hopefully you'll join us next time. Which, if we run next Monday, it'll be without Zig, if I am calling sadly. But I think we should do that if we can, right? If we can, just to get another session under our belts. But we'll see how things go schedule-wise for the rest. We'll deal with that off camera. Thank you all for playing. I ran it. You played it. I thank you all for watching, and say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody!